Welcome, everybody, to Adrift in Aldhalor, our weekly actual play show set in our homebrew world of Arden, where we have lovely music curated by Stefan from Musicbed.com, where we license all of our tunes, and occasionally some Ambience from Syrinscape or TabletopAudio. I'm going to bring Shannon in here quickly to talk about a few of our partners.
Like who, son? Like who?
Who's usually the first one?
Arcane
Spectacles.
Arcane
Spectacles.
Are you looking to
Arcane
spice up your D&D games? They've got some really great stuff that you should go check out, like their dice displays. They have mugs, ornaments. I still like to... I use my Kieran mug literally every 3 days as it cycles through the dishwasher. So
They make great
you can
gifts.
go to their website and use hashtag Paradice or something.
Just Paradice Prod.
Okay, Paradice Prod.
No,
just Paradise. Paradise Prod
Just
is
Paradise
the
Prod or
1985
something.
games.
All right,
Just
just Paradise. And you can get 10% off.
Yeah. Take a look
Thanks,
at the chat where we have the link
Yeah.
and the...
That was amazing. You did such a great job.
It's because I listen to you do it every week.
Aw.
I could have done it
Amazing.
better.
All right. What's next?
I can't tell if that was a compliment or if that was like, ugh, I listen to you do it every
no, it
week.
was a pure statement. There is no inflection
No
whatsoever.
morality
neutral.
to it.
There's
Uh-huh.
no stank on it.
All right. Well, yes, go check out Arcane Spectacles as advertised by the lovely Stefan. Next, we have Underground Oracle Publishing. They are a best-selling, Emmy-nominated TTRPG publisher building new and exciting settings for the cipher system of every genre that you can imagine. Each setting includes everything you need to explore its unique world, including lore, species, descriptors, foci, creatures, ciphers, artifacts, and all of the rules that you need to play. For as little as $3, you can join their Patreon and help shape each of the worlds that they create. Next, we have Edward Yorke. He is our character artist. He is an illustrator based in the UK who makes art for games and books. To visit his portfolio and to get in contact with him, visit eyorke.com. Last but not least, we have 1985 Games. They create affordable, accessible, high-quality accessories for D&D and other tabletop role-playing games. Sean, how about those NPC cards? They're great. You're muted.
They're not in front of me, but they're great. Unfortunately, I have used 99% of them. So for
You
this
say
campaign,
that
at least.
every time, 99% of them. Have you not used the final 1%?
There's like 2 or 3 cards I haven't used.
All right, so still to be unveiled in the
Mhm.
campaign.
Mhm.
But yeah, what makes them so great, Sean?
They got all these features on them. Things like
Like what?
personalities, quirks, flaws, goals, secrets, art.
Secrets. The art's pretty. So yeah,
It is.
they have a whole
I actually
bunch
kind
of
of make my own now, technically.
Oh, yeah?
'Cause, well, I
Based on theirs?
actually used a similar breakdown for NPCs before I
Mhm.
got these, and I just adjusted it to be a little bit more like this. So yeah, I actually kind of still use them in the sense that I make my own now, until they release new
Amazing.
ones.
Amazing. They're very, very cool.
They have other stuff
It-
too, like story
Yeah.
prompts, and they had a Kickstarter recently. Lots of cool stuff comes through 1985 Games.
Yeah. So for this one, use the code ParadiceProd for 10% off your entire order. Couple last minute things here. If you are not with us on Discord, please join us there because Sean writes some awesome one-page recaps for us every week. So that is a very quick and easy way to catch up on the story. And you can also join us on the socials everywhere at Paradice. That's Paradice with the C. And yeah. Well done.
Oh, you're done?
I'm done. Let's play.
Play what? Oh, I gotta bring the
Play-
boys
play-
in.
Play the game. Yeah. Well, there's only 3 of them here. One of them ran away.
Bruce
Boy.
is tying his shoe, as he usually is.
Mm.
his non-existent shoes. Alrighty then, folks.
He's an
Let's-
outside boy. He'll come home eventually.
That's true. That's true. He is an outdoor kobold. Let's jump into our recap.
Has he been trained? Potty trained?
Oh, God, no. So, the last we left off, on the 10th day of Anarim, slaughtered on Anenuanir, Iron and Mana concluded their business at the library, and in the process convinced their Modron friend, Monodrone, to stay and engage in some light to heavy reading on their behalf. With an afternoon to kill until the Academy Gala in the evening, the party got to work on some errands. Their first stop, Lucas Pascal, brother to the murder victim Hugo. The party informed him that they may have encountered a machina similar to the one they suspect killed his brother, or at least based on the descriptions the young street urchin provided them. They divulged the info regarding the Modron, the Great March that they had mentioned, and Mechanus. This excited Lucas, and he began contemplating possibilities of different celestial entities, besides the traditional angel known in lore. They asked him about the term, or to their minds, a name, lacuna. He seemed to not know it as a name, but rather as an academic term implying a missing link or a gap in knowledge. All this time, Jacquette worked to create a forged document, giving Lucas access to the Admiralty Court in the Academy Library, so long as prying eyes don't look too deep into the paperwork. They used this, with some silver, to persuade Lucas to work for them in the library with their research. As the party departed, Theron stayed behind to ask Lucas to do some additional research quietly for him without telling the others, particularly regarding an artifact called the Ithildagnir. Their next stop, Audubon's workshop. The total blacksmith prides himself on efficiency and speed in his productions. Not the typical long, artisanally crafted blacksmiths you might find in Stony Heath. Audubon prides getting things quick to his customers. The party traded and dealt in alloys and ore, as a teenage apprentice followed Saskia around to ensure her sticky fingers remained in her pockets. They learned a bit about Audubon Bunt's establishment, but ultimately decided to weigh their options with Septimus' friend Torcal in the Brigadier Flea Market, though Bruce did pick up some armor, particularly a shield. Here, Septimus acquired a particular metal only found in old dig sites and scattered across the ruins of Aldhalor, an arcane alloy from the forgotten days before the marring of Aradun and the Morasir conflict, way back in forgotten time. Furthermore, Bruce checked in on his deal with Torcal for first rights on salvaged goods, especially ones that needed repair. The elven trader offered him a broken magical smoking pipe for a discounted price, really only worth it if you can ultimately fix it. But after a thorough inspection, Bruce did purchase this item, as he and Jacquette determined that it could be repaired and that it did have magical properties. During this time, the rest of the party wandered the flea market to sell off goods or purchase secondhand attire for the gala this evening. But ultimately, the party gathered in the Cask and Crow to wait for Sigil to arrive with their invitations. Alas, the enigmatic academic arrived with invites for the whole party. He furthermore expounded upon the many important guests, including the Commodore and all of the college deans. The new dean for the arts and humanities, Sylvan Chevalier, drew much attention from Saskia and the party, as she is quite a renowned explorer and scrapper from Shallow's Gaunt, where Saskia once called home. Sigil also asked the party for a favor: inquire about his former pupil Dovana, amongst the other researchers. His student abruptly ended her studies with him for another academic. Is it jealousy or just simple curiosity from Sigil? The session ended with Saskia asking Sigil about his knowledge and involvement with the Modron, given his odd reaction to the mention of the strange creatures earlier in the day. He admitted he had no direct involvement with their arrival, and gently told her that he'd never knowingly try to trick the party, and that all will be revealed in its time. and embrace the chaos of these unknowns. Saskia returned to the table where she divulged some of this to the party, at least saying he didn't seem to have any involvement, but otherwise feeling satisfied with the answer that she was given. So here we are. The party has maybe an hour to kill to get ready for this event, as Sigil plans to send his carriage to pick them up, to bring them up to the hall. So, Iron and Mana, is there anything you'd like to do together here or individually before the big show?
I was taking a bath because
Yeah.
I had just
You walked
ran
away,
off because Jacquette threatened my beautiful jacket. So
I was
went.
also cleaning up.
That's right.
And after you neglected to inform the rest of the party.
I was being playful. I was going to tell you, and then you immediately jumped to, I'm gonna rip your fucking jackets.
Yeah, that sounds like Jacquette.
Yeah. So I'm pouting in the bath.
I love it.
Bruce is. I think we left off with Bruce and Jacquette at the table, and
yes.
Bruce took some of Jacquette's parchment, and is very close.
Oh, yes,
because
yes.
when Bruce has to write things, he is very close to a piece of paper, so that he can see. So he's just furiously writing a letter.
In very stark contrast, you have Jacquette, who's leaning pretty far away to almost get a full view of the paper that he's working on, as he's doing nice big script, really working it, making it nice and official looking. For he is forging documentation from the University of Domuzerum, saying that Jacquette Touchard is eligible to basically be a professor and teach. That he's obtained the rank of master or something.
Do not grant you the rank of master.
No. Yeah, that's why he left. He was never made a master.
Exactly.
In the school of, what kind of bard am I? Eloquence. So he's a master of eloquence, if you will.
Okay. All right, so let's do the same check that we did the other day for this. The intelligence check or the investigation check. I'm sorry, intelligence check with proficiency for forgery kit.
Right.
Or I guess if you're taking this whole time to do it, then you could do the deception roll instead.
Well, so rereading that, how I read it, so, and this is going to work against me, but I think in the nature of rules that I love. So all the different, so it has the components and then the different skills. I think that is, you can use deception with a forgery to basically give you better. So if I was to be I basically having this paperwork would give me we'll say advantage on a deception check, or not make me need to make one. Whereas the creation of the paperwork still requires an intelligence check using the forgery kit, no matter what, is how I read that. It's basically using a forgery while trying to deceive someone. I just can do better.
See, what I take it as, which is also going to not get you the deception, is that these skill checks are valid for creating something, but you need to take more time to do this, because the quick fake feature exists for something that happens within an hour. I think you could do a deception check over time to create a forgery, because I mean the deception one's the only one that kind of doesn't specify as well as the others, where the other ones it's you use the kit and the check to do one thing.
Right.
So regardless, for now, since you only have an hour, you can really only do the quick fake. So we'll just do that for now.
Okay.
And then we can discuss how we want to. It's better for me if we go with, it's always the intelligence check, because if your deception check is gonna rock these forgeries at some point, but it doesn't scale as well with you.
Right, but I think it works because then the other thing is like I can just, if you'll allow me to just spend more time on like
Yeah.
a smaller thing and basically just not necessarily try to keep re-rolling, but like just make it better in some
Mhm.
way. I don't know. We can talk about it. It was a 10, so
Okay. Okay. All right, we got a 10 on your credentials. All right, so we got Bruce writing a letter. We have Jacquette forging some documents. Not his best work, but not his worst work. Fearn is getting cleaned up. Sass is getting cleaned up. Septimus, what are you doing? You got about an hour. If there's anything you want to do during that time.
I guess probably just straightening up myself and doing some blessings to Sal in my arm. I feel like it's been a while. Make sure everything goes right in my mind.
Can you get it off with just one arm?
I don't know what you mean.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. So we have everyone kind of getting ready in their own way.
Air
Bruce.
drying the furs.
Yeah, they're trying the furs. Yeah, I guess who is getting dressed up for this, and what are you getting dressed up in? How nice do you look? Some of you actually have formal clothes. Some of you, I don't know if you do.
Well, I purchased a new corset and a new jacket that I asked Jacquette nicely to mend. Well, really Robespierre, but it was mended nicely. I have my old hat with the purple feather in it, but after taking a bath and finger combing my hair, I'm gonna. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna braid it so that it's over one shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and still have the headscarf with the hat on top. But my hair that's usually down and a mess, I'll braid it nicely. And then I will dress in my old shirt, which maybe I gave a little dunk in the bath water after, and then I don't know. So it might still be a little damp.
Getting the most
but
out of
wrung it
that
out as
soapy
best
water.
I can. Yep. And then put the new corset on and the jacket, and might there potentially be any rooms that haven't been turned over yet?
You in these turned over rooms. Well, it's the evening, so no.
Okay.
We're close to the evening, so there wouldn't be any loose rooms.
Okay. Well,
There might be
then
some clothes drying out in the back.
Yeah, I was
No.
gonna say, Fearn might be in the backyard cleaning his stuff, so you might be able to use his room.
No, that's not what I had in mind. But
She was
thank you.
thinking thievery.
Yeah. No,
Oh.
well, no, not quite. No. Well, in that case, I want to pick a random room, and I just want to knock on the door.
Okay.
Mhm.
Alrighty.
Roll a d10.
roll me a d20 and give me high or low.
Low. Fuck. 19.
19. Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as you knock on the door, you would hear somebody is in there. You just hear kind of this low, grumbly voice being like, what do you want?
Hi.
What do you want? He didn't open the door. He's just shouting through the door.
I want makeup. Do you happen to have any I can borrow? I lost all of mine.
Makeup.
Yeah.
Door is swiped open super fast. As you can see, there is this elderly dwarven man in there with a big bright red nose, traditional beard and dwarven beard. He's just wearing a very simple clothes. He's clearly like going to bed, even though it's pretty early.
Yeah. Oh,
and
sorry. Sorry.
you want some makeup? I don't got any makeup in here. Who the hell are you? Do you work here?
No, I'm sorry to disturb you. Good night.
I
I'll just
paid
walk
good
away.
silver for this room. I don't want to
Yeah.
be disturbed by
I'm
strange
sorry- I'm s-
vagabonds coming through the rooms.
I'm sorry. It was good night. I'll go a couple doors down. Knock again.
Give me a high or low. And roll a d20.
Low.
Okay.
4.
Okay. So I'm just going to say that you are able to find someone who is kind and maybe a little like weird, still weirded out, I would say.
Sure,
If there's a
of
stranger being like,
Sure.
but kind of immediately like recognizing that you look like you're trying to get cleaned up and dressed up, and they kind of open their hearts to that and offer you some accoutrement.
Thank you. Do they also offer to apply it, or do I have to do that
They
myself?
absolutely do not offer to apply it, but they do offer like their table with the mirror that's in the vanity in their room.
Okay.
As they kind of awkwardly sit there, it's just like
Okay.
this, like probably a half elven woman who's just sort of
Yep.
like,
This one goes that goes there, right? I've only seen this done a couple of
sure.
times.
I mean, you can do whatever you want with it.
Okay.
Just don't use too much. You've already
No,
got
no,
a lot
no,
of
no,
that on
of
there.
course not. Of course not. Do I? I heard someone say that they wanted their eyes to pop, and so I want my eyes to pop. Are they popping?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's the makeup though.
Good. I did it right.
You know what? Keep that brush, she says after she sees you wipe the open wound on your face with it. And you know what? Keep the makeup. You can go.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
I insist. I insist.
Well, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have much, but and I start pulling out the shit that's in my bag that I'm still absolutely carrying. The tiny little crab that scuttles across.
Please,
and
no.
the
Please, no. Nope,
and I
no
pull out
payment.
Are you sure? I
Wait,
just like
what'd you
had a
pull?
handful
And then she
of
kind of like looks at what you actually pulled out. Oh,
I take the crab and put it back in the
oh no,
bag.
I'll take those.
Okay, thank you. And I give her, I'm rolling a d10. I gave her 8 silver.
Fair enough. Yeah, she doesn't want to touch any of that makeup anymore after you used it. Just because you have an open wound in your face.
That's fair. Great.
Guess this would technically be like fairly close to a disguise kit, but not as many things. Just the cosmetics part of it. Okay, so you got yourself some makeup. You got yourself cleaned up. You somewhat cleaned your shirt. It's drying out back, I guess. And Fear and you're out there cleaning up as well. And I think, is there anything else anyone would like to do? Or are you all going to come back together in the lobby dressed or set up for stuff? Or does anyone else want to tell me what their look is for this gala? I mean, I know Bruce is from the flea market.
Well, I mean, Bruce got the nicest thing he can get from the free market to look like business casual.
Yeah. It's
It's
very
pretty
real
like,
Silicon Valley vibe.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You got it.
I'd say that Fearn's just wearing his normal, Viking-esque garb. He polished his chainmail, tried to get the wares from the road out of his furs that usually drape over his shoulders. Trying to look presentable as if he were going somewhere fancy, but not necessarily like wearing anything that's different. Maybe he cleans up his horns too, polishes them as well.
Ooh, nice. Some glittering horns, and some freshly cleaned furs that don't have dried blood in them anymore.
Yeah.
All right, who else? or is there anything else,
Septimus
guys?
is kind of a simple boy, so he's wearing the same robes he always wears, but he did make sure to prestigitate, clean everything as much as he can. But he did really tidy up the mechanical pieces that he's bringing, like especially his arm and Sal are like glistening, all oiled up,
Nice.
looking nice.
Yeah, I love it. You kind of, I mean, you give off exactly what you are, a cleric with augmentations that are much nicer than his robes. I also like to turn my head, just like imagine Septimus like just like combing his hair, like just a little bit. There's nothing like you don't have like much going on for your hair.
No,
It's very simple, but just
I got
imagine
no product. I just make it wet a little bit and just push it to the side.
All right, Jackie.
I mean, he always looks good. I'll say he's broken out the outfit he had on the plane on the airship. So it's like got more frills to it. It's definitely we'll say it's old world style. It's Gwenvalor style. So it's gonna stand out a little, but that's what he wants. And he's got all his gems on, his rings. He takes off the shell necklace and has like a nice necklace on, and is going to cast 1 or 2 distort values just to make his jewelry appear better.
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
overall, just do that.
I like to imagine, and I mean, even also just like simply based on the art of Jacquet, that like that art, like that attire he has there, maybe a little bit more formal, is like that old world aesthetic, a little bit of Renaissance mingled in there with some contemporariness. Versus like what you've noticed is the fashion of the upper class here, which is very plain, other than Cadmus, who is always colorful. Everyone's wearing like very like dark browns, dark blues, dark colors, with like a white shirt underneath.
And just for clarification, the pistol, the handgun that I got from Hastings,
yes,
that's an outlawed weapon, correct? That's not something that I can wear on my belt.
Yeah, that is an outlawed weapon because it does have the bunco.
Bunco, that's what it is. Okay.
The bunco manifolds on it. I mean, you could like arguably, if you got a holster and like made it look, you could conceal the manifold parts, but it's a big risk.
Yeah, no, not gonna happen. So instead, he's just got his nice rapier at his belt, but he's not gonna bring his light crossbow or anything. He's just gonna have the rapier and then his hidden.
Does he have the knives? Okay, I was just gonna ask if he had the hidden daggers. So yeah, in Jacquet, like you, I mean, for a lot of you, for the most part, your time with Jacquet has been your kind of time amongst aristocrats, maybe other than Bruce, who would have seen some folk in his trade deals and business with Koboko. So like, sure, you guys went to the tent feast / party after your victory. You didn't stay very long. This is a full like 3-4 hour long gala that is like truly like you go there, and Jacquet, this, like anything you're wearing, anything that you have on will be asked about by someone. Like if you did have the armament, they would have been like, "Oh, what is this? What is this piece? Let's see it. Take it out. Is it loaded?" So something just to keep in mind as you're all gathering downstairs, I think, by your usual booth, all looking very dapper. You can see the usual crowd is kind of coming in here for the dinner rush. It is a Friday after all. And yeah. All right, let's see.
So I believe we have a carriage coming for us, correct?
Oh, wow. We do?
Oh, very fancy.
That's what Sigil said. Now, remember, we have to delay just a little bit. We can't arrive right on time, but we can't come too late. I believe a good 13 minutes past the half hour should be good.
I like that number.
Isn't that a little rude?
Oh, Septimus, my friend. It's expected. It would be rude to show up on time.
Then why do they even set a time for the arrival?
So that you know when to show up later.
But then why?
And those
wouldn't-
that show up early or on time will be seen as not in the know. It's a whole social status thing. It's. I don't
I've
expect
never
you to
heard of
understand.
this.
No, and if you didn't arrive on time for your
Well-
duties on board a ship, it was bad.
Whenever I arrived to meetings and I was late, I got yelled at. So
Yeah.
why
so-
would
Very, very different world, that of the coin versus. And he just
The
gestures
coin?
to the four of you.
Well,
Well,
I'll
yours
take
is a
his-
little different. Construction, to my understanding, is a world in and of itself.
Suppose we take his word for it. This is the life that he lived.
yeah.
That's true. Before we go, I guess I don't know. I don't want to assume. I guess. How did I do? How do I look? Is it too much? Not enough. I have the extras, so I can fix it if I need to.
Are
but-
you proficient in disguise kits?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. No.
Uh,
Navigator's
then-
tools. I navigated my face.
Then no, that's very funny, but no.
Your face.
I would say give me a performance check.
Okay.
Probably.
Oh no. Can
No.
somebody help me, please? I really wanted Sass to be good at this.
What'd you get?
A natural 1 for a 5.
So Sass, it's perhaps a couple things. One, you're using used products from someone's random purse, and she kind of kicked you out before you could finish using the mirror. So I'm gonna say this isn't Sass's fault necessarily. You were kind of
Okay.
going off of no mirror after putting the base on. So things like the lipstick, maybe some eyeshadow, are a little off, a little asymmetrical,
Yeah.
a little smudged.
Eyeliner's definitely not
Yeah,
symmetrical. Shannon has
yeah.
never once been able to do eyeliner
Yeah, you
symmetrically.
look like you did good makeup and then
Mm.
you stood out in the rain for a little while,
Got it.
or like took took a tumble.
To be fair, she probably did. Or you know what? The little bastard in my face came out and licked it all.
Oh.
Yummy.
So, did I do all right? I was a little rushed, but I wanted to look a little more. I wanted to try. I wanted to look like I tried.
I think it looks great. It's very intimidating war paint.
Oh.
Definitely looks like you tried. I think you missed the mark.
I mean, I can't really tell, but I think it looks great.
Okay, fine. Here we go. I always carry backup concealer, Jacquet says as he reaches into his pocket and takes out part of his disguise kit, and will, of course, being a cat, Tabaxi,
Yep.
he doesn't actually
Yep.
need concealer, but and he's going to help out
And I'm going to stand perfectly still.
Saskia. Stand still. I don't know if I believe that.
Perfectly still. I will. I'm trying really hard.
He's talking through the whole thing. Okay. So Jacques can help you fix that up. The two of you can make it look nicer, more presentable. Maybe straighten out some of the lines, clean off some of the smudges, and overall, it now looks pretty decent.
Thank you, Jacques. I appreciate it. I know we're not best friends, but I appreciate it.
Your presentation reflects on me, so.
That looks good too, I guess.
On our way, I might hop off the carriage or stop the carriage. Actually,
Why?
yeah.
Why would you do that?
I need to. Well, I mean,
But we have to be there 13 minutes, so then we
can
got to leave
stop,
time for this.
Really quickly. On our way, there's going to be hopefully a postal service somewhere in town. Looking at God
To the
for
gods,
confirmation.
the gods above.
Why don't you just leave it with the innkeeper here, whose name I definitely remembered. Maybe begins with a K.
Yeah, but they might not
Anyone got
Anna.
it?
send it.
There
on
you
a-
go, Kana. Connie.
Well, kind of. All right. Well, I guess I'll give her instruction to make this like a 1-day mail.
We pay a lot of coin to stay here, and it's generally assumed that tenants of a place like this would have services like that. So Kana will most certainly get it out on time.
All right, I will.
Sweet Bruce.
Yes.
So sweet.
Bruce will go find Kana real quick and
Mhm.
deliver. Hand him.
She when you find her, she's kind of busy and she looks and she goes, "Whoa, you look good."
Hey, Kana. Oh, thanks. That's great because I don't know what I look like.
She looks
if you
she looks
could-
past you for a second and sees everyone else in the lobby. What, you guys going to a party?
Yeah, a gala. At the academy. Could you do me a favor and mail this for me
mail this?
Yeah.
She grabs it.
to Halcyon?
Halcyon.
The address is on there. Yeah. And I need it to be magically mailed. Not a courier.
Oh, not a courier.
Not
Yeah,
a pigeon.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Well,
Here's the silver for it. I know it's gonna be a little pricey.
you know what? I'll get this out for you, and then I'll put it on your
Oh.
tab
Perfect. Thank you, Kana.
for a quick
So,
magical delivery.
Yeah, that's you got it.
She puts it in her front pocket. Her tunic.
Just don't. Okay. Is there like anything else in that tunic? Like
No.
Is it
no.
gonna get lost?
No, you can see it's like actually in like a front chest pocket. Like anything that would get in the way is actually in her apron that she has pockets on for anything like loose towels or anything. For as
Bruce,
much as
like-
she's like an upstart and tries to get as much gold out of people, she does do hard work while she's here. But
Bruce
gives you a little
hops
wink.
off the thank you. Bruce hops off the stool and
scampers
waddles
away.
back. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else before you step outside to find the carriage? You step outside, and
Oh.
it.
How did that
You
happen?
find the carriage?
Da 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 da.
No, you find a
Ah.
beholder.
Oh
Roll
no!
initiative.
It's
pulling
a
the
mimic
carriage. And he speaks perfect common.
Hey, how's it going?
Woo, woo, woo. I don't know what that was.
That's on one of my eye tentacles.
Yeah, the next when I finally put a beholder in the game, I'm gonna have them be like, "Woo, woo, woo! I'm the beholder. Welcome to my lair."
And it just like spins around. Like,
Okay. When you step outside, it is quite a cold evening as the sun is setting. Given that it is Inarum, we're approaching the winter months. The sky is a bit darker. You can see that there is the gas giant Vero is sort of setting along with the sun as the eclipse months are coming closer and closer. You would also all notice something that you're used to now. That maybe 30 years ago wasn't here, which is at the very like center of the gas giant Vero, as the planet is slowly becoming more of an eclipse and darker, it seems an equally bright light at the pinpoint center of it begins to slowly open. Those of you who give a shit about religion and know about it would know this to be the eye of the crescent heart, the great moon that she brings about in the winter to keep the long dark a little bit brighter. It's a very, very, very creepy part of life. It helps protect you all from the dark and the cold of winter by providing this magical source of light and some warmth. But reports from people say frequently that it feels like the eye is following them. It feels like it moves. Feels like they've witnessed it in the deep of the night blink, even. And it is deeply unsettling when you get into the darkest months of the year.
And it's Kieran's favorite thing.
Yeah, he freaking loves it. He lays out and watches it all the time. Stares right at his goddess's eye. Anyway. The carriage is right outside. It is pulled by 2 big white horses, and it has the disguised automaton in the front seat, the clockwork automaton. And you can see has that like awkward like shaking of the clockwork as it's just as the door pops open on its own for you all to enter in.
Enter in. It's like, oh, Septimus is like, this is real nice.
It is nice. It's there's nice leather seats in there. There's it's spacious. It's lovely. It's the nicest carriage you've ever been in. Not
How
Jacques. He's
small
been in
is
nicer.
it? Like, does it do my horns?
I will
hit
say it
the
is a bit
top?
uncomfortable for Fearin. Your horns definitely scrape across the top, and you have to keep your head down and hunched over a little bit. I mean, Septimus, it is a little uncomfortable to fit like your arm properly in as well.
Yeah, I guess
Generally, you
Sal's
prefer
probably not-
stools over seats.
Sal's not in it, right? Is he
No, I
just
mean,
like,
do you want to bring Sal?
Sal hangs on.
Oh,
the
no,
back.
yeah, I'm definitely bringing Sal. But
Okay,
I
Sal
don't know, he's
probably
probably not going to fit in the carriage. He's
Yeah,
gonna
Sal
walk
might have
beside
to
it.
walk.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But Sal can walk along the carriage. He may not be able to keep perfect pace with it, but he'll follow along.
Fearon's the last one to get in, and he sticks his head out the window with his arm out.
Okay, so you're all in this lovely carriage and
While-
begin to... Yes.
While we're all in the carriage, Jacquette's gonna look to Bruce and go, "So Bruce, what was that letter you had to send?"
Oh, that was to my coworker, Selena. I'm asking if she could, well, just kind of checking up on her and asking if she can send us some chalk for teleportation means.
Teleportation chalk. It's
Yeah.
quite expensive.
Yeah. She makes it.
I'm sorry, your coworker makes teleportation chalk.
Yeah, she's a master of the arcane arts.
Sorry, is she interested in venturing? Maybe she joins Iron and Mana?
No, she's got way bigger prospects than hanging around with a ragtag group like this.
Oh, don't put us down like that, Bruce. We have very big prospects. We're going to
Yeah,
a
we've
gala.
got a lot of things going for us.
I
And
mean,
a
I like
reputable-
this. You know, she's into something else.
I'm just saying, if she's a master of the arcane arts, her know-how would be much appreciated for us.
Yeah, I mean, I figure this is a small ask in her, you know, in all her capabilities, I'll say. She was my boss, all right?
Oh, now it's
I
making
see.
sense.
Anyway.
Did she get the
She-
promotion that you were supposed to get?
No, I was not qualified for the position. I mean, I kind of was, but she
What's
was
a
overqualified.
promotion?
It's like an upgrade,
Oh.
except in social status. In small.
Well, it's like going from second in command to the captain, right? Or going to the bottom of the ship to whatever's in between that and the captain.
Right.
I thought that
Yeah.
only happens if somebody dies.
That's how promotions work sometimes.
Sass,
No.
you would know that that's not on pirate ships. It is not usually when someone dies, although they will elect a new person, but it is usually elected.
Yep.
Leadership positions. Of course, I guess if someone cuts the captain's head off, you gotta
Who would do that?
Well, that's usually caused by a mutiny, which is a vote. So
True. That is true. That is true. But sometimes it's caused by a big blue devil.
With a great sword.
You looking at me funny?
Oh goodness! At least you're not walking around with boots on anymore.
better fucking not be.
they were nice boots. I could have wore them to this.
Do you still have them?
No, I had to give them up. I thought you bought me new boots.
That's
Yeah.
right, I did. Good job, past Saskia.
Oh goodness.
So, you arrive to the Admiralty Court. You go up. The carriage is let in. You don't even need to show your papers. The carriage brings you in, and it does like a little loop around the whole circle of the Admiralty Court, where you kind of loop around that big, beautiful park in the middle. You can see there are lights inside the park that have been kind of decorated all about. As you are approaching sort of the gloaming season, which is sort of the month-long festivities before the true winter months kick in. So people are putting lights up as the days get shorter. But they're also giving you a little bit of a roundabout, because if you didn't, you would be arriving on time. So the carriage seems to know. The carriage seems to be in the know. Or the clockwork robot seems to be in the know. As you would do a few loops around. It might get annoying for those of you who don't kind of understand what's happening. You're just like, where the hell are we going? As and Jacques is like, this is how the carriage is supposed to go.
On his claws.
Before
we just passed where we were supposed to go.
For the fourth fucking time.
Yes, I imagine so.
This is
Why?
what you did. That's so inefficient.
By my count, another 3 more laps before we're good to go.
Is this like a preparation ritual before you go to a social gathering?
If we didn't have the carriage, did we have to walk around it 7
Yeah, like-
times?
If we didn't have the carriage, we would not be going.
Oh.
Huh.
You do not walk to a gala, my friends. No. You arrive in style.
Okay.
And it's at that point that anyone looking out the window would notice at least one other carriage doing laps.
Yeah.
Ian would definitely notice since his head's been sticking out the whole time.
Except the driver of this carriage is a real person, and they look so frustrated. Like they look so frustrated. They're like, but eventually, after a couple more laps, as Jacques said,
On the second go around, I try and give the guy a high five.
you just get like this absolute sneer from this guy, who is also like it's getting pretty cold out right now. The guy, and his face is a little red from a little bit of wind that has started kicking up. The temperatures are getting pretty low, even as low as 20 degrees, 20 odons potentially at its lowest. Certainly the kind of thing you'll need a jacket if you're going to be outside at all.
We have one.
Yeah, just skin me and wear me.
The wind force is fairly light, but it's so cold. It's so cold out that it feels pretty sharp when it hits you in the face. The stars above are visible, but there is some cloudiness obscuring them, as you can see some of the traveler moons in the sky as well, in addition to the eye of the crescent heart. But you arrive through the front gates of the university, and you're brought through the central quad all the way towards the College of Arts and Humanities, where you can find some of the oldest looking buildings with much more Gothic looking architecture, and some even older looking longhouses and keeps and stone structures. But eventually you would find your way to a more contemporary structure that looks like it's been added onto this campus recently. And you can see carriages gathering in the front here, people exiting those carriages, wandering into where you can perceive the gala to be based on all of the different garland decorations that are all over it and different magical lights that you can see floating around of varying colors. And a fountain in the middle that is has a statue at the head of it that looks like a mermaid with their hair flowing down and turning into the water itself that flows into this.
Cool.
Sass, as the cart passes by this, you stare into the eyes of this mermaid for a moment, and you almost get like a flash of your patron's face in its horrific form, much different from this. You get this sort of just quick little incision into your mind as you feel the mollusk retreat into your skin.
Beautiful.
But the carriage would roll around to the front, where you would actually see, waiting for you there, is Sigil by the front entrance, where you can see the doors are already opened up, these big, grand double doors, and you can see through the golden lights of chandeliers in a long hallway with a gold and red carpet going down it, with several rooms off to the side with people wandering in and out. As Sigil, you can see, is wearing much nicer clothes right now. He has darker aesthetics, not as bombastic as his first attire that you saw him in, with all the different elemental waves. He looks almost as if he wants to look nice, but he also wants to call very little attention to himself. So very buttoned up, all black, with just sort of a simple white undershirt with a waistcoat and a long jacket. Very, very sleek. A headscarf wrapped around his head where his mask fits on nicely. This mask, not the usual sort of faceless, just eye holes with colored decoration. This one looks like a human face and is made from what looks like a gold with some silver trim in it. A much, much, much finer mask than what he usually wears. And it has just a very simple human male face. As he looks and sees to the carriage, you can see he's just sort of, as the carriage pulls up, he opens up a stopwatch or a pocket watch in his hand, looks at the time, and as he looks up to you all, the doors of your carriage pop open for you to exit.
I exit. Hey there, Sigil.
You just climb over the rest of us.
He went in last. He went in last.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Make a dexterity saving throw, Fear. No.
I would.
But as you all kind of clamber out, he would kind of like awkwardly say hello to you each individually as you get out. He's like, hello, Finn. Hello, Saskia. Hello, Bruce. Hello, Septimus. Jacquette. And he kind of looks back at his stopwatch again. I had them do a few laps around. I imagined you want to be coming here late.
Ah, so you know then. That's fantastic. I'm glad I didn't have to say anything.
I guess
It's always uncomfortable when you have to speak to the help.
I find some of the most charming people to be those who serve us in those capacities. But I myself am not usually privy to that sort of stuff, that sort of etiquette, but I figured you might be. I've been here since it began, but welcome.
Thank you for the ride.
Oh, thank you again for the invitation. This is
Yes, that too.
very excited for this evening.
Yes.
Well,
As I said before, the programming for tonight. So we have the cocktail hour that has begun now. I'm sure you'll wish to go and speak to several people, enjoy yourselves. There'll be some food, drinks, as well as a gallery to see some of the art of Dean Firio. Promptly at 7:30 will be dinner. And then at 8:30 will be remarks from guests of honor. Silrin Chevalier will speak, the Commodore will speak, I hear, and Dante himself will give a closing remarks before we end the evening.
There's no dancing?
The dancing usually happens after the remarks. Some choose to leave, some choose to stay. And occasionally during the dinner hour, some will dance. Some will even forego the dinner and just dance.
Interesting choice of scheduling, but who am I but an outsider in this new fanciful world?
I will say this is not a court. This is an academic affair, an academic gala.
You call it a gala, and I think of a gala.
Well, there will certainly be some dancing, I presume. If anyone gives Dean Bronin some champagne, I'm sure he'll be asking all the ladies to dance.
Well, then it looks like we know our first order of business. Come, my friends. Let's make merry and drink. As Jacquette turns and just kind of saunters off with his little cane.
Aye. I walk right beside him.
I do love to dance.
As you all kind of walk past Sigil, he gives you all a nod, and last remarks just, I'll most likely be found in the gallery if you need me. I'd like to keep it low profile and just sort of blend in. But enjoy yourselves.
Thank you.
Okay. As you enter in, you have, like I said, there's this long hallway that has this long gold and red carpet. It has bright white walls that have paintings hanging on them, different decorations. There are plenty of decorative plants all over the place. And then these tall doors that lead into side chambers. As you walk in, you immediately see to the left is coat check, where you can drop off anything that you want to drop off. And on the right, you can see some of the wait staff getting ready and beginning to hand out glasses of champagne to people walking in, which you are welcome to yourselves if you'd like a glass. The next row up, you can see there are 2 doors on either side. Most people seem to be gathering in the left-hand room, and then some will meander over into the right. You can see just by the sounds of it, and as you approach, the left-hand side is where there's the bar and all of the different tables of finger food and different delectable things. On the right seems to be a small library where there's a big great hearth burning with several pieces of art hanging up on the mantle with several contemporary experimental art. There's some sculptures even hanging off the walls. Dozens and dozens and hundreds of books in the walls, all bound in nice leather. As you can see, very comfortable looking plush chairs in there, and you can see several people in there enjoying cigars, cigarettes, pipes. This is the smoking lounge.
So are we planning on sticking together as a group, or are we mingling, as it were?
At that, Bruce gets distracted. Oh, champagne, and runs after a waiter.
Great. I already have 2 glasses in my hands, so I immediately go towards the food. I'll be over there.
Oh, Septimus is just, I guess, looking to Fearn, or if he's still next to him, or are you with Jacquette?
I think I'd just be standing right next to you. I'm not really sure where to go.
Yeah, like, well, I thought she wanted to know a plan. This is all new to me. I'm not sure what to do, and I thought we were going to be presenting ourselves as a group, people, but I guess it wouldn't hurt to, for now, try to mingle.
Maybe I'll go take a look at that art. It doesn't look like any art that I've ever seen before.
Okay.
It kind of smells weird over there. You want to come with?
Sure. Yeah. Come, Sal.
Sal is just sort of looking around. I know we didn't say we dressed him up at all, but all I can imagine is that he has a little bow tie on.
I literally, as you started that coming out of your mouth, I went to the same thing.
Okay, so Bruce ran off to chase Champagne. Sass, are you chasing Bruce?
No, I went.
Okay.
I have 2 glasses
Okay.
in my hand. I'm going to the food.
Okay, you're going to the food. Jacquette, where are you heading first?
Jacquette had a mage-handed glass of champagne that follows him around as he sips from it. And he's going to go mingle in the entertainment room.
Okay.
Where the parlor, not the smoking lounge.
Yes. So basically most of you, I imagine everyone's going into the parlor then at their own pace. Bruce might be chasing the champagne into the smoking lounge. You come back in and Bruce has got that pipe and he's just smoking it and he's like, oh, yeah, sure.
He's grown mutton chops and
somehow.
A child boy.
It's the new world. But yes, so Sass, you follow your nose into this room to where there is all of these really lovely tables set up with like wedding style food that's put together in a beautiful ornamentation. You see the charcuterie has the little salami roses and all of that. There's these grand ice sculptures also all in this room that are lit up from within of varying colors and some of them even like multiple colors in this sort of prismatic shapes within the ice. All of the ice sculptures seem to be abstract shapes that seem to even in some ways bend into fractals that look impossible and like something that can obviously only be crafted with magic within this space. And you can find there's all sorts of lovely finger foods here. You can find some lovely crab cakes. You can find some bacon wrapped dates. You've got some roasted scallops with a slight warm butter corn salsa. You got some cheeses. You got some raw prepared fish. It's got everything you can think of, all in these nice delectable little well decorated plates.
So, Saskia's never had a full belly. So, but she is aware that she is at a nice gathering. So, I'm going to fill a plate to the brim, and I will be standing in the corner and eating it. But I will not be like devouring it like I normally devour food. I will have a tiny little plate that is packed to the brim with a little bit of everything. But maybe I took one of those little forks and I'm trying really hard just to eat. But it's so good, and I'm having to like resist every instinct not to just wolf it all down.
Yeah, Sass, you're absolutely standing over in the corner doing this. The plate is like too full. But you also like look around and you notice like you're not the only one in the corner with a plate full of food. You also notice several people who look younger, who are likely probably graduate assistants to some of these professors, who are just like free meal. I'm a pork student. Yep. They're the ones who are really here just for the food, not to mingle with professionals, and they're just sort of like,
it's good, right?
Oh yeah. Whose class are you taking?
Oh, I'm not taking a class. No, I'm not a student. No, I'm actually
you staff?
my name. No, I'm here as an invited guest, actually. Yeah, me an invited guest. I never thought.
Yeah. Usually guests of honor don't stand with us over here.
Oh, I'm not that honorable.
Okay. You try the little spring rolls?
Oh, no, fuck, I missed those. Where are those? I mean, darn, I missed those. Where are they?
You don't have to play fancy with us.
Right. And then I just kind of turn away from the rest of the crowd and just finish everything that's on my plate so I can go back for seconds.
Okay. So Sass is rating the food. Fionn and Septimus. Fionn, you're following the strange smell. which I feel like what would be a strange thing to Fearn? Like what would, because I imagine he's used to eating like seafood. He's used to eating a lot of meat. I imagine there's like some like exotic fruit that gives off a distinct odor that might be drawing Fearn in.
Yeah, definitely anything that's like fruity or, summery would definitely be interesting to him. Maybe some fishes that only like are in warm water or whatever. For art, I'd say that he probably has experienced a lot of woodworking and metalworking where he came from. A lot of things depicting spirits or the god drakes. Not so much whatever it is painted or sculptures. Maybe sculpture is a little bit more up his alley, but maybe not the same media like the subject. I think the smell was coming from the smoke that you mentioned.
Oh, okay,
like people
sorry.
smoking.
Yeah.
He probably has smelt tobacco before, but probably not cigars, like stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. The stuff this strong, or even some of the stuff that has a very distinct odor that comes from the manufacturing of it. This is definitely different from the regular stuff that you're used to, even back home. But yeah, so I guess, you can definitely come into this room. There would definitely still be those odd fruits and ends in here. But the room is like, there's like a dense smoke in this room. It's definitely uncomfortable if you yourself are not a smoker. And you can see several folks gathered around this fireplace. You can see they have several different glasses with different cocktails, or you might have some whiskey or other spirits. There's sculptures in here. You would notice there are some that are fairly straightforward sculptures of something that is meant to look like the thing, be realistic. But then there are a few that are these abstract sculptures that are made of different metals that sort of show these like incomplete people. It's so almost like a person is standing up, and you can see like it just has the silhouette of their front half, and then it hollows out in the back and sort of melts into these ribbons. It's like very, very abstract for really any of you. And they all seem to be in different expressions of emotional states. Some of them are crying out. Some of them look happy, like they're dancing. Some of them are sort of weeping with a smile on their face. They're very well done, but they're kind of frightening to you if you're not used to it. They kind of look like ghosts, spirits, in the way that they do kind of have those ribbony metal plates coming off. It almost looks like the metal coming off of them is melted into and a wind is blowing through it, sending the hot metal back to give this very unique look. There are a couple of these in this room.
Why would you make a sculpture of somebody being burned alive? I don't really get it. You're muted.
There's always meaning behind the art, but I'm not quite following what the point of view was for.
And it's, as you're saying that, you're kind of like the two of you sort of like awkwardly standing on your own, not amongst kind of the conversations, that you would see one of the workers shows up. One of the but they're not dressed like the other waiters. They're dressed more like a maitre d' or something like that. And he comes up and he's like, "I see that you are admiring the sculptures. They are unique works of Dean Dante Firio. He made these quite a while ago, something that he very much prizes, that he's donated to the school, and it's part of his retirement."
Interesting craftsmanship.
Oh, yes, he's quite multi-talented. It's a shame that we're losing him. He's worked with all sorts of mediums. But,
yeah, where I come from, I've never seen any art like this. It's very unique.
Yes. You may not have seen a lot of it, but that is a good eye to notice the uniqueness. The pained expressions or the glee on the faces of the individuals. They are said to be moments of divine revelation for those who witnessed and took part in the Sindanok, the great cleansing of the gods.
So,
Oh, now I'm seeing it.
Some have expressions of pain as they witness their gods falling from the skies, others as they see their god piercing another with the rending of a spear, and those who don't know how to feel as the fires and cities around them are swallowed by the darkness at hand.
see, I was right. The guy is burning.
No, I didn't say that he wasn't burning, but I'm saying there's some symbology in it. It's very it's very literal.
Yes, symbology.
Wombology.
I'll leave you two to admire the art. As this guy wanders away.
We're iron and mana.
As the farm boy and the northern Viking engage in high society.
Was that guy asking us for something? Why did he come over here?
He works here and he's there to literally
No.
talk about the art.
No, I think he was talking to me.
That was
Oh, I'm
asking.
sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me.
I think he just saw our interest in the piece and just wanted to talk about it, but we disappointed him on the discussion.
Maybe we should discuss something different.
No. We know what it is now. Then the next person that comes here will we'll say the same thing to them and then make them think that we're smart.
Oh.
And that way, they'll be like, "Wow, these guys are very sophisticated. They know what they're talking about." And then we sell them iron and mana.
Okay. That sounds good. But what if I want to look at that stuff over there?
Well,
Do we...
just wait and see if somebody else comes along,
Okay.
and then we can move on.
Okay, let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Fionn is like mostly looking at the statue, but like keeps taking glances at people sitting down, like kind of like expectantly, like.
Yes, it's at some point while you're waiting that a waiter would come over to offer to get you another drink if you finish your drink, but also offer you cigars if you would so wish for them. But it's as this waiter comes up to do this that someone else kind of wanders over to not. They kind of like you can. Maybe not actually. You guys aren't party goers. Like they're probably coming over. You might think, oh, they're clearly interested in the art, as opposed to them maybe like going over to the art as an excuse to go get a cigar from this waiter. As you can see, this this tall, very angular-faced human man. He's got a very long, crooked nose. He is got a sharp chin and hair kind of held swept back with somewhat of a receding hairline going into a widow's peak. He's wearing very, very well-tailored black robes over a suit. He has a more colorful scarf that's within his shirt that is sort of a somewhere between a forest green and a moss, one might say, as he has just sort of these little spectacles hanging at the end of that nose. Someone might say it's a green screen colored scarf. As he comes over and he just starts to kind of like look at the art piece.
Yes, it's quite the interesting piece. My friend and I were just observing it ourselves.
Oh, is that so? What do you make of it? As he just goes and grabs a cigar real quick and holds it out, and the waiter cuts it for him and lights it for him as you say what you say.
Well, obviously has to do with pain and suffering. I think that the artist was trying to portray the culmination of battle against the gods and contemplating the although it was a noble deed, the surrounding and the all destruction that surrounded him and what that meant.
Huh. As he's just like holding the cigar in his teeth and he's looking at it. I think it's a bunch of bullshit.
Here, here, and I light a cigar.
It's already lit, buddy.
No, I think he was lighting one for his own, for himself.
Yeah, sure. I'll light a cigar.
As he does like let out this big billow of smoke over the two of you as he says it's a bunch of bullshit.
Septimus will just like sigh immediately, like, you know what? I gotta be honest. I just took it from whatever that last guy said too. I don't know much about art.
What do you guys talk? I say this to the guy. What do you talk about at these things?
And he kind of looks to the two of you, and now you see he swipes his robes back behind him and puts his hand on his waist while he's holding the cigar in his mouth. Just like looks like an old picture of someone in like an early photography years. It's just like, huh. But he looks like he might go hunting. But he looks to the two of you. And he takes the cigar out and looks and goes, research. We talk about business. As he kind of nods his head over towards the hearth, certain important people show up, and you look over, and the two of you would see the Commodore, sort of in the middle of a rush of academics of all backgrounds, all kind of vying for her attention. Given that you all do know that this entire university is funded by her and her coffers, so like she's the like person who you want to get in nice with for your research grants and whatnot. And he says this in so many words, like, yeah, all the roaches scrapped together for a little bit of feed. Much like these statues, it's all a bunch of bullshit.
Dude.
I don't believe we introduced ourselves. I'm Septimus, and this is my friend Firio. We are of Iron and Mana. You may or may not have heard of us, but we are the new adventuring group, sanctioned by the city of Hyvin itself.
That's right.
That is why we are here, and why it wouldn't surprise you that we feel or seem so misplaced.
You see, he shows the cigar in his mouth and goes and gives you both really aggressive handshakes, really stern handshakes, as he lets out a puff of smoke and goes, Sebastian Went, biological professor, new around here. Hence, less bootlicking from me. Well, gentlemen, there's more party to be had. Enjoy yourselves. It's nice to see some non-academics here. I gotta go do a little bit of schmoozing. But if I need another smoke break or somewhere to not have to deal with this bullshit, I'll find you. As he takes a big drag of the cigar and gives you both a nod before kind of really like meandering around. Like he might be, since he said he's a newer professor, he might also kind of not really know what to do here. He may have experienced some of this before, but he may be new in the sense of with this group.
Does Fear know how to smoke a cigar, or is he just like inhaling it completely?
I suppose he smoked cigarettes before, so he kind of gets the idea.
When Fearn was a teenager, he would smoke a few cigarettes behind behind the big ruins. No,
A tribal clan.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, Fearn, you would have had the opportunity at some point to have experienced like pipes and whatnot amongst your people.
Sure.
Yeah, so I imagine you wouldn't be hacking up a lung. I mean, you might be hacking up a lung because you're not a smoker regularly, but
right.
I
think I would smoke a little bit of it and then probably like put it down somewhere.
Yeah, lights the whole place on fire.
It's on a
Bruce,
bookshelf.
Bruce, as they're having this conversation, I'd say you finally chased down that champagne waiter. Would you have chased them into the smoking lounge or into the parlor? Because there would have been multiple, and you would have been able to go to either way.
Yeah, I don't think Bruce. I mean, I'll roll for this. Parlor.
Parlor. Okay, great. So Saskia ran running in there, and Bruce, you would have seen her going off towards the food as you chase after the champagne. Jacquette, you wouldn't be too far behind Bruce as he's scuttling in, but Bruce, you would eventually catch up to the champagne, the waiter, who kind of looks down and eventually goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Would you like a drink?"
Yes. Yes, please.
She just sort of slowly. She doesn't kneel down to your level, but she does bend curtsy almost a little bit as she hands you the glass.
Oh, I thank you.
Of course, sir. If you need anything, just call.
Oh, what should I say?
You can just call for a waiter. Just say, "Waiter, please." Or you can call
Waiter,
for me
please.
personally.
And your name is?
Isabella.
All right,
Write that
Isabella.
down.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else at this party that you know of? His name is Isabella.
Whose name
if I
is
just
Isabella? Not that I know of, sir.
All right.
So you may want to look for me before calling out my name. I don't encourage you just to shout my name in the middle of a strange room.
Okay, yeah. I just curious how the calling works. Yeah. Thank you.
You can also do it much more subtly by trying to make eye contact with me and raising a hand.
I'll just talk to you in your head. That's all right.
Would prefer that not to be the case.
Oh. Okay.
Just call for me, or truly, just call for any waiter.
All right.
As she sees all hope of a tip leaving her eyes as she walks away. As Jacquette, you would see Bruce there if you wanted to catch up to him, or you can look around on your own. And Bruce, similarly, if you're looking for anything particular, once you have your champagne.
Bruce is like trying to take it all in. Everybody's taller than him, so he's just kind of like looking up and around, like he's kind of lost between the legs.
I imagine Jacquette walks up to him and kind of bending a little goes, "Real smooth, my friend, real smooth. You almost had her, but the comment about in your head, I wouldn't advise that if I were you again."
Yeah, that kind of slipped. I don't know. It's kind of more normal for if you run into somebody who's a magic user that they can just talk to you in your head. I know it's not appropriate in most situations. I was just trying to figure out the best way to call her. She told me to call her. How do you do that here?
You make eye contact and wave.
Oh, yeah. Someone's going to look down at me.
You'd be surprised. And I think looking around, there would be a few people who are like, I imagine, looking down at a individual that doesn't quite fit in.
Yeah, 100%. They look down and they see Bruce, who has these these goggles on the top of his head. Or are your goggles on now? I imagine, or are
his
you
goggles
going?
are on now, but I imagine at first he was like, "Yeah, all right, a lot of colors. All right, let's put these back on."
Yeah, take in the natural view first, and then put them on. You would see. I mean, you would notice there are some folks looking. They're generally looking towards you too, because everyone here, for the most part, most likely knows each other, and they don't necessarily know you, other than that there may have been some whispers around that Sigil invited his little group.
And then, so as folks start to look at us, Jacquette will do a little grandiose gesture with his scepter and go, "Yes, hello, everyone. It is I, Jacquette Touchard, and my friend, Bruce. Sorry, what was your last name again?
Rebellion.
Rebellion. Adventurers with iron and mana."
Why are you drawing
So
attention?
you would
You
see.
just see Saskia in the corner picking shit out of her teeth.
Jacquet has like basically blinders on where he can't see what Saskia's doing to, in his mind, embarrass him.
Like you painfully understand that in your periphery Sass exists, but you cannot
Yeah.
look. It's like looking at the sun.
Exactly.
So you would see several people do look. This place is fairly crowded. There are clearly people who are more important just by the way others gather around them, talk to them. Some might say well-named NPCs with full backstories. And then there are just sort of like some, invited students. There is the grad assistants. There are also some minor faculty here. Other people who work at the university, the academy, as well as other people who are important to the town. But just from this little presentation, you would recognize, three people. You would see that Sigil has now found himself a nice spot at the end of the parlor, at the end of the bar, where there's not a seat next to him. It's that little corner seat where he can be kind of alone and no one can come talk to him. You would catch Cadmus's eye, who is at the parlor as well, talking with a few important-looking people who look less like academics and more like businessmen or business folks. You would then notice a Fearbalg by the name of Essa Hyven, who's, as upon looking at you all and catching your eyes, her eyes kind of beam as she sees you. And then you would also see a peculiar fellow who is significantly taller than everyone here. You would have maybe noticed him at first when you walked in, but now that you've presented yourselves, he's turned and looked to you all, as you would see a large Fomorian giantkin, approaching 9 feet tall, about 8'5", wearing the best clothes you could possibly find for a man this big. It has to be custom made for sure, but it's all very utilitarian while still looking nice. So he doesn't have sort of the 17 layers of the suits that everyone else is wearing. He just has a very simple short-sleeved tunic that is just made of a very nice black material with similarly dark gray embroidery on it, all meant to be very subtle but still stand out as a texture. But before you even notice that, the thing that really stands out is that as a Fomorian, which you may not know about, but Fomorians are somewhat misfigured or disfigured giantkin from the Feywild, who are, some say, are cursed, who look the way they do, but generally they have a misshapenness to them. One of his arms is significantly longer and bigger than the other one, and his shoulders similarly larger. And in his other side, he has a what would actually look more like a normal-sized man's arm, someone who would be more like 6 feet tall. So still big for you all, but he has it in this complicated contraption that is simultaneously a sling, but also somewhat of an exoskeleton around it to form a prosthetic arm that is equal to the size of the other one and to provide balance so he's not leaning over all the time. And he's standing up tall, despite sort of some of these uncomfortable growths on his back that are concealed by the nice tunic. And down at his legs, you see that his left leg at just below the knee is missing and is again replaced with a very sophisticated looking prosthetic. You would immediately be able to assert that this is Dean Bronin of the Artificing College. So those are the people who stand out the most in this room right now, as either familiar or impossible to avoid. Someone would start clapping, and then slowly everyone would start clapping.
Jacquet does a little bow and then stands up. Do people come around to start talking? Jacquet is not going to seek anyone out. He is going to just talk to those who come around.
Yes, you would see it. It would start off with some of the students who would come up, who would start to ask you questions about the adventures they've heard about. A few of them look at you, come up to you, Jacquet, and go, Jackie, right?
Yes, yes. My stage name. Very good, very good. Have you seen me down at the agency?
Oh yeah, I saw the second performance. It was I don't think I could ever miss one.
Oh, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Well, soon enough, there will be more all throughout Hyven. Who knows? Maybe even a special show here at the Academy.
That would be amazing. And you see, there's just this small group of students who are clearly Jackie Touche super fans.
Would they have been the students I was eating with in the corner?
No, these ones look younger. These ones look like they're
okay.
like maybe 18, 19, whereas the ones you were with are like 22, 23.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
I'm making my way over there at some point, but need the right moment.
Yeah. It's absolutely a few of them that are swarming you, Jacquette, before sort of the professors come in and sort of disperse them a little bit, or more so just silence them. When they arrive, the students all kind of like tighten up and listen to the professor. As you would see, several of them do come up and just start to, some of them just come up and give you a very simple hello and greeting, saying, "Oh yes, I am Amana. We've heard so much about you. Sigil discovered you, right?"
Yes, indeed. One of his students, actually. What is his student's name? Dolvana. Are you familiar? I think she's a student here at the Academy, correct?
Dolvana. Oh, yes, Dolvana. Recent admit, I hear. I was doing some work with Sigil that was a bit, As you see, he literally looks over at Sigil with somewhat of a condescending glance. He's under the table. Not exactly a sanctioned study, is what I heard. But she started along the correct path, I've heard.
Oh, really? Who's she with now? I haven't caught up with her recently.
Oh, who's she with? Oh, I don't know the exact professor, to be honest with you. I myself am a member of the School of Agriculture and Working Animals. A bit of an animal person myself.
A raccoonist, if you will.
But I heard that she had enrolled in the School of Naturalism.
Interesting.
Makes sense
good for
from what
her.
I've heard of the studies that she did with Sigil. Of course, you want to find yourself in the research team of a true scholar. Nothing against librarians, but it's just different. His studies are more of hobbyist versus the rigor of academia.
Of course, a librarian collects knowledge and then does what with it? I ask, what does he do with it? Because it sits there in his library.
It's
Whereas
so
we
true.
academics, Jacques is very we seek knowledge, we analyze it, and we tell the world what it tells us about the world.
Give me a persuasion or performance roll.
I'm gonna go performance because I'm not really trying to persuade him of anything.
Yeah.
That's an 18 on performance.
And this guy is, you can tell is, he has some elven descent to him, but mostly human. You can sell the sort of like small elven ears that the half elf typically has. As he just sort of like a big smile comes over his face as he says this, and he just goes, "That is quite astute. It's so true. The librarian collects books, and judging by Sigil's library, most of those books are probably eaten away by moths. Have you seen the piles? The piles, I say."
And they go on forever and ever. I do agree.
Yes, of course. They call it by its honorable name of the... where's my notes? The seamless archives, but it looks more like there are seams everywhere, and they're unfurling rapidly.
Yes, well, Sigil may have found us, but now we're doing work all throughout the Academy. We worked with Academists most recently. We found the
good man.
missing Professor Nettle, if you weren't aware.
Oh, I was not. That story has
yes.
not reached our ears yet. But you said
yes.
us academics. You a scholarly man yourself.
Oh, you noticed, my friend. Yes, indeed. I hail from Domuzerum, the university over there. I'm a master of eloquence.
At this,
Master of eloquence.
Bruce just kind of like pats Jequit's like thigh and then just moves on.
Oh, where's your little friend going? Oh, okay. Domuzerum, you say? Domuzerum is quite a distinguished place in Gwenvalia. Can't say I've been to
I know
Gwenvalia
it.
myself, but I've heard stories about the many-tiered city.
Oh, it is fantastic, my friend, fantastic. Every tier has a different story to tell, and every story, a new world to explore.
Sass, you look like you're about to sneak up on this conversation.
I was gonna say, as Bruce left, Saskia was going to take his place, and as coming up on the word explore, said, "Aye, the world must be explored, right?" Hello, Jacquet.
Saskia? Meet my friend. I'm sorry, I did not actually catch your name.
Ah, yes. I did write this down. My name, Joyce. Joyce Arendt. Pleasure to meet you. You said Jacquet was the name?
Jacquet Touchard.
Touchard. And Saskia.
That's Captain Saskia Seablood at your service.
Captain Saskia Seablood.
Aye,
He looks...
Captain.
Yes, I am. Yes.
When did that happen? Between getting off the carriage and stuffing your face, or?
Always the jokester, Jacquet. How do you not know of my? I told you about my excursions before. I am a renowned captain, currently in the market for a ship, but I still hold that prestigious title. You might have heard of the
captain with no ship. Of course.
You may have heard, ignoring him completely. You may have heard of my excursions on the Poisoned Ghost. That was my most recent ship.
The Poisoned Ghost, you say? Give me a deception check.
Talking to whatever undergrad student is next to him, Jacques goes, I always thought ghosts were immune to poison damage.
You see this 18-year-old looks at you with the blankest stare ever, having never adventured in his life, but then like lets out just like, ah!
Jacques scowls, pushes him aside, and pulls another one next to him.
The next one immediately just starts laughing. Like he doesn't even wait for you to tell a joke. He just
ruffles his hair. That's a good sycophant.
That's
that would be a 25 deception.
25. Okay. He rolled a pretty decent insight check, but not that decent. So he looks and he goes, "What was that again? Poisoned
Ghost."
Sorry. I thought you said poisoned.
Quite
ghost.
ethereal on the sea. Yes.
Ethereal. Oh, so a bit of a poet as well. I see.
Sure.
Oh, that was not the response I expected, but fair enough.
I think it's telling.
I do encourage you not to get into an ontological discussion with the new Dean, Silrin. The captain with no ship sounds exactly like the metaphor she would use for her philosophy of reason bullshit.
Oh, well, wouldn't that be the exact reason I would get in a conversation with her? Give her something to talk about in her lectures?
I suppose if you'd like to be stuck in a conversation all night.
Stuck? Is she not
Oh, she's pleasant enough. Just
not pleasant to talk to.
Oh, well, she just runs quite like the new rails they're putting in, nonstop.
Ah, I know someone like that as well.
Jacques
Put a
has
little
left the
smirk.
conversation. It is just maybe giving some of the undergrads like, and I was thinking as a Jackie, I'd rattle up the crowd and say like, what's the deal with deans these days? They come and they go. Like, are you kidding me?
I lean into this guy.
That's good.
It's Michael
Thank
Udon.
you. What was it?
Michael
Michael
Udon.
Udon, right? Good kid.
You know my uncle.
Actually, technically, I never met him, but my friends tell me all about him. Quite the slipper.
As he picks up a shrimp.
Yep, Michael Udon Jr., but he's not his son. Anyway, Sass, you lean into Joyce.
To Joyce, word of advice. That one's full of shit. You just blew a bunch of steam right up your ass. Just say it. Take it from someone who's been with him for a little while.
Give me a persuasion roll. And you see, like at that point, like as Jacquette's walking away with the students, you see he just like he like pulls out a little monocle and he just like watch Jacquette as he's walking away. Oh.
Yes.
As you can see, like closer, like under the light, you can see he has this very thin mustache, very thin like pencil mustache.
Oh God.
Very long face with these, small pointed ears, with a lot of like crevice lines, smile lines, and wrinkles. You could think he's a half elf, so he could be 80, or he could be 40. But what did you get?
7.
He's looking through this little monocle at Jacquette, who is now like sort of like, I imagine, like an arm around this kid and being like, yes,
It's just
friend.
Pretty accurate.
And then he like looks back at you and he goes, oh, he seems like a fine fellow. I don't think he would lie to me.
Oh, well, he plays it very well. He's a very good liar. But pleasure to meet you. I'm gonna go mingle a little bit more.
Fair enough. I'll just find my way over there.
Wonderful. All right.
And you see
I kind of make faces at his back as he leaves.
As you see, he beelines it towards the Commodore, who has just entered into this room, quite salaciously, without having put her cigarette out in the smoking parlor, bringing it into this room. With that same steely-eyed look that she had when you first met her. You can see, like the dress she wore at the parade, the dresses she wears tend to have sort of feathery themes to them. They almost seem to mimic particular birds of colorful feathers. As she does have on sort of this really loud peacock themed dress with a powdered wig over her typical hair that has sort of like this orange ombre color powdered into it to contrast with the blues and teals and greens of the dress. As she's holding the cigarette out on one of those long cigarette sticks.
Yep.
As she enters into this room with that look like she could see right through you. Even for a moment, Sass, like as you see him beeline towards her, you might even for a moment catch her glancing to you in that very like sideways look way where she just sort of like ganders.
And I like knowing the last time I met her, she made me feel like shit. I'm gonna hold my head high and I'm not gonna break my gaze as she casts the sideways glance, even though I'm feeling sad on the inside. I'm not letting it show.
Give me a performance check.
Sure.
And then we're gonna jump over to Fiernan and Seppi. 9? Okay.
Yeah.
So you maybe feel better, but you there might be a little quiver of the lip as you try to make a strong face.
Yeah.
And it's like as you do that she pays you one last side glance as she disappears amongst the crowd of professors who swarm her, trying to get their new research idea to her.
Oh, more food.
I think that was the best noise I've ever heard Sass make. That was very in character. All right, Bruce. Not Bruce. Actually, Bruce, before I jump over to Septimus and Fieran, where would you have gone from leaving the conversation with Jacquette and Joyce?
Bruce was going to probably go find Dean Bronin. Wow. And then before doing that, chug the rest of his champagne.
Absolutely. Yeah. I imagine like you drift away from Jacquette and you kind of like, you can spot him, chug it as you head on towards him. And you can see Dean Bronin is very, very jovial. You can see he has a specialty glass that's a little bit bigger. for him.
sense.
That has a little bit more champagne in it. He might need more champagne for his size. But you can see he's not like everyone else is holding it very like classily. He is like ham-fisting this glass of champagne, and he just has the biggest smile on his face. As you can just see, he has purple skin that's pocked with a lot of scars and malformed tissue and bones that kind of seem to jut out or calcified parts of his body. As I said, his right shoulder and arm are bulky and strong versus the smaller, weaker, prosthetic-supported left arm. He has that missing leg. He has a face that you would look at and be like, that man has been pickled by the sun. Based on all the wrinkles and worn textures all over. But at the same time, when he smiles, they almost kind of like come together in a way that is charming, despite what you would say is a traditionally not attractive looking man. And he has this very shaggy, dark purple hair that has a receding hairline at the front that goes back about halfway up his forehead, and big floppy elven ears. So like the typical full length ears like torcals of an elf, except his are flopping down a little bit, almost like a dog's. As he is just sort of very intensely like arm jabbing the people around him, taking big swigs of this champagne, as he is sort of like, and every now and then when it gets quiet, as you're approaching, and maybe as you approach it starts to get quiet, you can really hear the music playing in this space. This very quiet piece sounds like it's being played on some classic instrument, much like what we're hearing. You see no band, though. You could presume this is coming from something like the gramophone that you fixed. He's just occasionally will just, like, almost like he is the maestro. He gets really into the music, and then like he just weaves that gesture into his conversations with the mechanical arm or mechanically supported arm that's just sort of like, you can see this little arm inside of it, and then this big like 3-fingered hand that goes like this along with the hand inside of it, as you would approach.
Dean Broden?
And he's
Bruce would like tap on his, I don't know, knee.
yeah. He is, I mean, you can see he is like absolutely like he's like crouched down and like on like what looks like a stool that has like a strap on it, as if he carries this stool around with him so he can sit amongst people and be more on their eye level. As he would then eventually be, oh, just a moment, lad, until the end of this part, and yes. As his eyes slowly open, he looks down. Hello there. And what might your name be?
Bruce Rebellion. Pleasure to meet you.
Bruce Rebellion.
Yeah. And you are Dean Broden, I presume? I'm also guessing by the prosthetics as well.
The one and only. The old dog of the college. Dean of the new school.
Old dog. How old are you?
I can't say, lad. I don't even know.
Oh, okay. I just,
There's a pool with the grad students on how old I am, because they think I know, and I'm going to tell them when they graduate. But it's a mystery, even to me, lad.
Oh, so what are you going to tell them? Are you just going to roll a dice and...
Well, they all got it wrong, so I'm going to take the money. But don't worry, I put it right back into the funds to help the students.
Well, I'm glad you have good values in place for learning. Speaking of, do you have any open spaces in enrollment in the artificing school?
Enrollment? Well, given that it is the newest school and the most exciting school, we always are looking for bright, new artificers, tinkerers, alchemists, all manner.
If you allow me to sell myself in a quick little elevator speech, I'm originally from Halcyon. I travel with the group Iron and Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
It's as you say that, he raises a hand up, not to you to stop talking, but just like to a waiter to bring over more booze. As you start to say this, and a waiter comes over and hands you a little thing of champagne, and she like takes like 3 of them and pours them into his cup. And he just goes, "Oh, thank you, Isabella." And he tosses her a silver.
And Bruce like tries to give her a silver.
Oh, don't worry, she's gonna see you if you're offering silver for sure. And she says, "Thank you very much, sirs," and wanders away. And he goes, "Go on. You say you're a part of this new adventuring group, Iron and Mana. I'd heard a little bit about this."
Yeah, but that's not the part for me to sell myself. I'm originally an artificer from Halcyon. I gained all my knowledge
sparkling
from
city
there, and
beneath the spire.
That's correct. I used to work for a construction company called Koboko, and I worked in the R&D department for magical trinkets and devices that was used by the construction workers to make their lives a lot easier. So, but I would love to learn more. What
It's a
everything you have to.
valiant work effort, helping the working man do better, safer, more efficient.
Right.
I
No
like
one should
that,
put-
Bruce.
All right. Well, so what does it take to get into your school?
Well, you're already off to a good start, lad. I like your story. I like your confidence. I like that you seem to care about little people, those downtrodden upon. And you see, as he points to his different contraptions, something that I like to imbue into my students, lad, is anyone can be anything. Anyone should have the right to get out into the world, see it, seize it, do as they need to, whatever it takes. That's why I've built these things for myself. That's why I build these things for others. Everyone deserves a chance.
That's what I'm saying. And as Bruce, gets really excited, he's like, I can't even see without these.
He's like, oh, look at these. And you see he actually plops down his own goggles. And he goes, I've never seen this. Is this a brand? Is this Bunko?
No.
Is this
is
Samara?
not Bunk. Nope. This is custom made.
Custom made. Oh, excellent. See, I have these, I shouldn't say cheap. They do the job, but I have these Bunkos. As you can see, he has his own goggles on, and he's like, and you see he presses a button on them, and you can see they light up. And he's like, they've got good scans on them, and he turns them back off and takes them off. But this is new. This is unique. I like unique.
Good.
Problem
I can show you
solving.
something else pretty unique. As Bruce reaches into his pocket and pulls out Lollyrock, puts his hand out, and then rolls his finger across the back, and then it just unfolds into a bird.
And he looks at it, and he immediately, and this dude is 8'7", as he is kneeling down now with these goggles that he puts back down that magnify his eyes to be really big, as he's looking at Lollyrock in your little hands compared to him. His whole head takes up your entire torso, as he's staring at it. Ingenious, lad. Look at this little fellow. As he brings this very big finger down, just sort of plops Lollyrock. Oh. I like this, Bruce. We should talk again.
All right.
After another day.
You can get in touch with me. We're staying at the Harley Quinn and Chalice.
Oh, yes, I've heard of the place. But yes, if this is the work you've done on your own, in an independent study, I think we may be able to find a place for you in the college.
And I have another friend in our group that is also an artificer, and he may be interested as well, but I don't want to speak for him. He's really, really talented, and he's animatronics. Not animatronics, but automatons.
Advanced prosthesis.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that's my specialty, so I'm sure I'd like to meet him, if he wishes.
Wonderful. Yes. All right. Wonderful meeting you, Dean Bronin, and or Bronin.
And you see,
the rest
as
of the
you sort of say your goodbyes, you would see a woman comes up to him, who is almost as tall as him, but not quite. Certainly more within the actual like sphere of doors in this place. Probably maybe in her like 6'4", something like that. Is you would see a where to go? Hobgoblin woman show up, and she's actually quite beautiful, like for a goblinoid that you might not typically think of this. Very long, very well taken care of hair that comes down. She is wearing a very beautiful suit. She's not in a dress, but it is very ornate. It's one of the few colorful ones here that's a little bit more exciting, as she just sort of leans into him and gives him a kiss on the cheek, as he goes, Bruce, before you go, I'll introduce you to the Dean of the School of Agricultural and Working Animals. This is Prina Murdoch.
Nice to meet you.
She would hold
Prina.
out a clawed hand to shake yours. Oh, the pleasure's all mine, I'm sure. I'm sorry, but I need to pull him away for a moment.
That is quite all right. Enjoy the rest of the party.
As they both smile and nod to you and start to walk away, and you can hear him grumbling, I didn't drink too much champagne. I haven't danced with anybody. Okay. So I'd like to check back in with Fearn and Septimus now, who are in the smoking lounge, having just talked to Sebastian. So, two of you are there. There's you would have noticed after Sebastian walked away that the Commodore would actually have walked past you two into the next room. She would have given you both very, very, very curt nods, to the point where you're almost like, does she remember who we are? As she does give you just a sort of a very, 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 very stoic nod as she just beelines past you into the next room.
I think I'd awkwardly say, like, good evening, Commodore. If she doesn't, like, reply back, it's just whatever, but...
Yeah. She wouldn't reply back. She would maybe you'd see the corner of her mouth crook into a smile with her nod to you. But what would you two like to do?
You think I should try and talk to her? She seemed friendly enough.
She looked very busy. I don't know if that's such a good idea right now. Wait till a little more into the evening before we approach her. It's still pretty early in the night.
Who's the toughest looking person in this smokehouse?
Not gonna tell you that. That's a bad idea. I know where your mind's going. It's Never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
Fear,
why are you trying to get? Don't get in a fight tonight. This is hardly the place.
I mean, I just need somebody who has something in common with me so I can strike up conversations. I don't know anything about art. I don't know anything about teaching people stuff.
Septimus looks around and he's like, as long as you promise not to get in any fights.
I promise. Unless somebody else starts it.
Points to the big half giant that you mentioned.
Yeah. If you guys are like
they're
kind of in that
probably
awkward
strong.
space, you can kind of see the Fomorian giantkin in there. It's hard to miss.
That's clearly the biggest. I can't really say if they are the strongest.
Yeah, but Bruce seems to be talking to him. I don't really want to interrupt.
Well,
Would you two keep hanging out in here or head into the parlor?
you probably just head into the parlor.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. This room does clear out a little bit once the Commodore has left. There are just a few academic-looking types in here who are finishing their cigars or pipes or cigarettes and talking casually amongst themselves as you head into the other space. Now, I imagine there's a moment. I imagine at this point, everyone's timelines catch back up. And there's a moment where you all are in different parts of the room, but you all spot each other and kind of all make eye contact. As Sass is shoveling food in her mouth. Would you guys gather back up, or would you stay separated?
I'd go and make my way over to whoever I saw first.
Yeah,
Probably Firio
would
and Septimus.
back up.
Okay.
Jacquet wouldn't. He
Yeah.
has surrounded himself.
I was literally about to say, like, but he wouldn't push to go against Jacquet because he knows that he's going to be doing Jacquet things.
I think Jacquet would make eye contact with everyone, kind of raise his eyes, gesture around him to the group that has been forming around him, and then just look away. As his goal here, and I wanted to say this when Commodore walked in, Jacquet would have tried to make eye contact with her. And if they did, he would simply give a little eyebrow like, huh? And then go back to talking with whatever the group is. And his goal here is to never approach anyone, only have people approach him. I took notes from a friend of mine. You may remember him as Cal Rowland, an etiquette on how to act. And so he's just trying to amass a group around him so that he is now one of those people at a center of a circle.
Yeah. And I will say she does make eye contact with you. She has this uncanny ability to seemingly make eye contact with every person who looks at her. Like it even feels a little uncomfortable for those of you like, you know, Jacques, you're a little used to the sideways glances of these types of parties where people are trying to size each other up and maybe even try to go speak privately or something. But anyone else who kind of catches her eye and she looks at you, you don't necessarily have chills that run down your spine, but you do feel that very stoic, stern gaze that feels like she's looking through you. But Jacquet, as you raise your eyebrows at her, the stoic face does break for a moment as she does laugh a little bit, not audibly so you can hear it, but you can see that sort of smirk as she shakes her head and kind of looks away from you, somewhat playfully, actually. As she then literally just leans against a high top and is swarmed by academics.
I was just going to talk to the group if we're all together.
Yeah, imagine the four of you gather up at one of the high top tables where there's, a little bit of food and one of these ice sculptures where you can reconvene with each other, looking around the room a little bit and maybe a little more comfortable being together.
How's the food, Saskia?
It's fucking delicious.
Can I
good.
have one of those?
Yeah,
actually, I'm not
here.
gonna have. That's a half-eaten spring roll.
I
I'll
can
get my
go.
own.
I can get you some if you want. So-
We can walk over there in a little bit.
It's so good. I've never had so much to eat, and just for me before. It's lovely. We should get invited to these things more often. Do you reckon we should try and start our own circle over there and have a little competition? Oh, and by the way, if anyone asks, my name's Captain Saskia Seablood of the Poisoned Ghost.
Captain Saskia Sea Witch of the Poison.
No. Nope. Captain Saskia Seablood of the Poisoned Ghost.
Oh, all right.
Sea Witch is only what you people call me.
Ghost.
Yeah, it kind of sticks after
That's
Fear
fair.
says it so many times.
That's fair. It is a
Yeah.
pretty badass
Yeah,
name.
no
I do
one
love it.
calls me by my nickname, my friendly name.
Well, do you want us to?
Kind of, yeah.
All right, White Eye. There it is. White Eye. You should start introducing yourself as White Eye around.
What about I? I.
No, that's what
So
I
you
say.
always refer to
I.
yourself in the third person when you speak.
No, that get confusing with because I
Yeah,
say
because
that.
sometimes I say I to mean
I.
yes.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
This
Anyway,
table suddenly
Jimmy-
seems less cool.
Wasn't trying to be.
Well, I'm glad you're having a good time, Saskia. We've been striking out all night. Nobody wants to talk to us.
Not
Wait.
entirely true. We got to introduce ourselves, but we haven't made much of an effort.
Septimus,
hard.
I also was talking to Dean Bronin. Would you, at some point, I think you'd be interested to meet him. He has 2 prosthetics. And I thought that,
Yeah, Septimus,
fellow
now that
over
you're
there?
closer
he's-
in this room, you can really
Yeah.
see the gear he's got. Nothing is autonomous. Nothing is autonomous like your limbs. They are all kind of systems of levies and pulleys and whatnot. But it's quite impressive.
yeah, Dean Bronin, he,
Well,
I
I
asked
mean-
about enrollment into the artificing school, and I'm guessing you're interested, but I didn't
Well,
want
did he
to
have any
Get
interest
in?
in you?
He seemed to have some interest in me. I gave him where we're staying at the Harley Quinn and Chalice.
No, this opens up a. It's actually not something I'd consider, but now that it's in front of me, this is perfect. Yeah, I would absolutely love to engage in discussion. Tell him about my accomplishments and maybe what he knows.
I'm sure he would love to take a look at Sal as well.
Of course. What better way to share knowledge?
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but
exciting.
Yeah, right. Bruce is like, all right, now I'm gonna get a little bit of food. I'll be right back.
The spring rolls are at the end, Bruce.
All right.
And it's as Bruce turns to go get some food, and you all maybe lean against the high top that you would all see in the back of the parlor. A set of double doors opens, and the room goes a little quiet. As you would hear a maitre d' or a herald of sorts announce to the room, man of the hour, the guest of most honor tonight, and our our ever wise Dean Dante Firio, famed painter, lover of the arts and all humanities, man who's seen it all, man who's painted it all, man who's studied beyond the reaches of the arts to try to find truth. And you see there's a lot of like little claps as you can see this very, very, very old half-elf. Probably at the end of his second century, 190s easily. His head is bald with thick and heavy white eyebrows hanging over squinting eyes. A stylish mustache of silver stands out with generous applications of wax with a pointed, well-groomed beard of silver. Deep, dark skin that wrinkles with smile lines as he smiles and his eyes disappear underneath those heavy eyebrows. He wears a colorful skull cap and classical wizarding robes with fractal designs woven throughout. This is not a man of contemporary fashion. This is much more, you look at him and it's like, that's the wizard my mom told me about in the storybooks. As maybe 100 years ago, this was the fashion for wizards. A man who maybe dresses akin to Professor Netherrock. But he is being sort of, he does have a little bit of a crooked back and he is walking very slowly, as you can see, holding his arm, but not like in a like doting way, but in a confident way to make him seem like he's capable of walking on his own without their assistance. You see a tall, aquamarine and pale stormy gray skinned elf with short wavy hair of a similar pale gray, webbed fingers and toes you can see through the sandals that she wears, as well as the foot wrappings around it. Pale gray eyes with, when she gets closer, you can see vertical slit pupils that look a lot like a gecko's. A professorial waistcoat with an unusually elongated tail that comes to a flourishing tail fin to make it look as if it is the tail of a dolphin or a porpoise. And she walks holding one arm woven into his arm, and then the other she has a cane that has a coral rock tip with a sapphire embedded in a piece of old porous stone for the grip at the top. Well, despite this, it does look as though she needs that cane. She does have a slight limp as she's walking. It is not just for decoration, though it is very nice. And you can see the famed sea elf, Chevalier, who is guiding him into this space. And I think that's where we're going to take a break. All right, folks, we will return shortly to continue the party. See you all in a little bit. Welcome to Adrift in Aldhalor. Our heroes are mingling at a lovely gala where they've met some important people with some possible important opportunities for them. Currently, they've just announced the guest of honor, or the man of the hour, so to speak, Dean Dante Firio, the outgoing dean of the arts and humanities.
Cool bard.
Who's a cool bard?
I was saying Jacquette's the man of the hour. Jacquette Touchard, a very cool bard, but also a mastermind rogue.
Yeah. You are the man of the hour for a group of teenagers. That is true.
Just like Stefan, that works for Jacquette. If that's what he can get.
that's who wants to hear his stories. Yes, Dante Firio has arrived with Sylrin Chevalier, who is the new incoming dean, who is also a somewhat famous explorer / philosopher / once scrapper in the poor heaps of Shallows Gaunt. So they have just announced Dante, and there was a brief clapping going on, as you would also see. You'll notice now what probably you might have thought were curtained windows. You see they go up and they pull ropes at these 3 curtained areas, and you see they fall down. You can actually see 3 prominent paintings displayed with magical lights hovering around them to give the best view of them. As they kind of go into this little bit of not a lecture, but they start to talk about these 3 pieces of work, which you hear them say are the most famous pieces that Dante created during his time as a painter, an artist, and in his studies. And they give a very brief history of him. As you would find out that he primarily was a historian and a painter. And these paintings, 2 of them look like classic historical paintings that are depicting a moment of history that might even be semi-fictionalized to represent the era of its time, or the moment. And you can see one of them is this very Renaissance-esque depiction of the let me find the exact name of it. It is simply the March of the Gods, and you'll see this sort of painting that has these gods that look a little bit more humanoid than those who have actually seen a god or met a god. They're very much so like almost like the classic like Viking woman with the winged helmet, like singing on the battlefield. Like it's very, very classical looking. It's just sort of this endless like march of gods, all like marching in the air over the landscape below, where you can see small people representing the peoples of Aradun. They present another one called the Alumno Republican Revolution. As you would see this very stylized and truthfully positive depiction of the Alumno Defiance, sort of triumphantly attempting to take back Kiranor. I'm sorry, I take that back. That was the Alumno Republican Revolution is actually a depiction of the overthrowing of the monarchy originally. So the opposite of the Alumno Defiance. Those who destroyed the monarchy. And then the next one is the Defiance Trials, which is a painting of the hanging and execution of Alumno Defiance members. And then finally, a ethereal experimental piece called Aether Fractals, which shows a landscape that is a caldera. Within the center of that caldera is a gaping wound in the world. And it looks as though at several points he just sort of like smashed the painting with a brush full of multicolored paints to send these sort of firework-like explosions out that then dripped down over this quite realistic and quite well done landscape of a magical place in the north, which Fearn, you would recognize immediately as the...
I was gonna say, did I recognize this?
Yes, you would recognize this immediately as what you know as probably the most dangerous place in the north that your people are forbidden to go to. The Triton Caldera. That is known to harbor some of the most violent spirits that your tribes have ever encountered. They go on to talk about how these paintings are quite famous and worth quite a lot of money, although they have been donated to the university. And the particularly focus on his paintings around the Alumno region and how they go into this long story about how he is forbidden from Kirinor. It is illegal for him to enter. He would be arrested immediately upon going to Halcyon due to his art. And all the while, this like very like quiet old half elf is just sort of nodding his head. Yes. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yes. As he just like leans over to Silverin, and she's just like, yes. As there's this brief expose of his work before it all kind of quiets down to some claps, and he nods, and him and Silverin begin to mingle. As the works are left up there with the lights showcasing them. The rest of the room somewhat dimmed now. As you can see, the only lights filling the rest of the room are the glowing ethereal lights within the ice sculptures, the ice fractal sculptures. Giving it somewhat of a nightclub vibe, truthfully, for a moment. And suddenly the music shifts and the bass drops. Do you have that ready, Stefan?
DJ 7 up on fucking tracks. Sal's just there.
With the wax cylinders of the gramophone.
Yes.
Grillixorus.
Here we go.
But yes, what would you like to do now that it's kind of returned to less of a show and more back to the party?
My eyes are following Silverin, and I'm just like, oh, I want to talk to her. Do you think she'd even give me the time of day?
I don't see why not. Just maybe wait a moment. She's getting flooded by people after that entrance. It was pretty magnificent.
Yeah. I don't know. She's from where I'm from. And I don't know, it'd be...
Shoot your
I
shot.
don't even know the way... I haven't heard that expression. What does that mean?
I mean, you know, for every chance that you take or don't take, you'll fail. I said that wrong completely. But anyway, you should try.
Okay.
I think what you meant is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my brain there. It's these spring rolls.
They're so fucking good, right?
They're really good.
Oh gosh. I mean,
suppose
this
I'll
is
come
only... Go ahead.
with you if you want.
Sure.
I'd like to talk to the old man about his painting.
Sure. Do you want to take my arm?
I would strategically place yourself to, you know, end up maybe where she's gonna end up.
Ah, smart. Can I get sort of vibe of where they're headed and just go station myself there with Fear?
Yes, you can see they're kind of making a tour down the parlor. Like they start at one end of the bar and they're going across. She's trying to make sure people don't flood Dante. So she's being very protective of him.
Mm-hmm.
And she seems very confident in being able to be like, we're not talking to you, and not in that like rude of a terms, but be like,
Yeah, just politely
Dante will
brushing
have
people
time
off.
later after dinner.
Yep.
To some people, and versus some people being like, Dante would love to speak to you for a moment.
Yeah.
As eventually, though, she would get towards the end of the bar. You actually would probably be hanging out with Sigil at the end of the
Great.
bar.
Wonderful. Love it.
As he would look at you, Sass. Give me, can you just give me a quick D20 roll and give me high or low?
This shit again. High.
Hi.
13? Does that
Okay.
count as high?
Yeah.
Because it's above 10?
11 or higher is high.
Yay.
So you good. You don't have a bunch of spilled food all over your tunic.
My corset.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, your corset.
My corset and my smart jacket, and I quickly would reach into my bag and maybe like touch up my lipstick a little bit. Fear, just hold up this plate really quick, but don't be obvious about it. Hold it, just quick, and just like apply them.
As the plate is being held up to your face, you would see as you're looking at it, it just very quickly like as a mirror appears over it, almost like it's been transmuted to be a mirror substance. As you would look at this and be able to see yourself, and actually, I imagine like you do that, you get distracted and just
down the side, yeah,
down the side. As you would hear from over your right shoulder, just sort of I think that would be a little easier from Sigil. As you look over your shoulder, you can see he has like a little he's opened up a little chute in the mouth, and he has a straw in a cup. As you hear him sipping the last of his cup.
Thank you, Professor. Great. Oh, fucking hell. This is why I never wear this stuff. It smudges everywhere. Fuck. Okay.
Sigil, would you introduce us?
Can you
Guest
say
of
his
honor.
fucking name right? Maybe?
Right.
Sigil.
It's quite all right.
It's not all right. He has not yet once gotten your name correct. It's very impolite. Fearn, White Eye, for the love of fuck, say his name right.
Sorry, Sigil.
It's quite all right, Finn, White Eye. What's a name anyway? As you can sense, just a tip, just a little bit of drunkenness on that last word.
What is a name?
Names are important. They have power.
Yeah, fuck they do, yeah.
You wanted an introduction to the dean?
Oh, yeah.
Right, yes. I believe Sea Witch here wants to talk to Silrin, and I would like to speak to the old man about his paintings.
I'm quite friendly with you two, but you may not want to call him the old man when you're speaking to him.
He knows better. Shooting him a look.
Given your argument not 5 seconds ago, I think he might not know better, actually.
I'll take that advice into account. Thank you.
As Sigil would like put an arm out to look to one of you to help him up out of his seat.
Yeah.
As he would come around to stand with you as Silrin and Dante approach. As they would approach, you would see Dante seems to have trouble seeing a little bit as he kind of really like stretches his eyes open. As you can see some cataracts on the eyes. As Silrin looks and goes, Sigil, it's been too long since we've seen you. I didn't expect to see you out. You're rarely at these events. And she seems quite taken aback, actually, by Sigil. Like, she's excited to see him, but it's coming out in this sort of, like, shock, more so. As Dante's eyes just sort of... Sigil, is that Sigil? Oh, it's good to see you, old friend. I promise before I leave here, I will return that book. You got my word from that one. You can come find me in my vacation home. Oh, and who are your friends here? And Sigil somewhat like a little bit leaning toward on you a bit. Sass goes, "These are my guests tonight. You may have heard their names chanted in the streets during the parade. Iron and Mana, heroes. In truth, the first, as he kind of like looks across the room to spot the Commodore, the first fully sanctioned heroes by the governor's office and the Commodores. They're a unique breed of adventurer that I think will be the future of these realms." And Dante goes, "Oh, adventurers. I once was an adventurer myself, a little bit. I used to take sabbaticals out into the wide world. I think Silverin still does that a little bit. He takes after me, my favorite student, my favorite pupil." As he does seem to like wander off a little bit here, he's very forgetful, it looks like. But despite he's somewhat slow, he engages. He's not kind of completely lost. He does see you. He is not ignoring you. He just gets on these little slight rants when it comes to his students or anything where he likes to boast about them. And he also likes to learn. So as soon as you kind of he mentions that your adventures, what sort of adventures do you go on? What are you looking for in the wide world out there? What can you know about anything?
I lean down to his height and I go, "Dean Firio, my name is Fionn White-Eye. I hail from the north, and I must say, your painting of the Trident Caldera, it, although in an abstract style, reminded me of home and made me think back of older days. I must thank you."
You see he opens his eyes wider and kind of like adjusts to catch you, and he holds a hand out to shake your hand. "Oh, man of the north, yes. I met a few of your people while I was traveling around there. We had a guide, actually, who brought us to see the caldera. I can't remember the lad's name, but... and I think we've Silrin here. Yes, Silrin, she's been to the north as well." As Silrin sort of smiles to you, Fear, and he goes, "Yes, it's true. I have been to the northern lands. I've not been within the Bay of Nor or near the glaciers, but I have been to your trade lands, on the northern shores of the Aldhavane. Aldhavane, that's the name of that rock, that large rock."
All right. Those are held by a different clan, but mine is normally further north in the wilds, but I've been there as well. Quite nice.
I'd love to see more of the lands to the north. There's so much lost there, beyond even, the outer lengths of your people's land. I mean, have you traveled beyond your lands to the east or the west? I mean, the east, of course, is the caldera, and it's too dangerous. But what of the west? Have you traversed the long lengths of your continent?
Many a time. The east, as well as being home to the caldera, is also part of the territory of the Scald Blades, another clan. But my glacier men, we explore the west and further north. I may not have been everywhere, but I could tell you that the trails like the back of my hand. I still remember them.
Interesting, very interesting. And Silrin takes an eye to you here. Well, we may need to speak another time, Fionn, if you know those lands so well. If I can find time away from my new duties, perhaps another sabbatical is in order. To traverse the west.
I wouldn't recommend a trip without approval from the clans. They are quite a isolationist bunch, but perhaps I could tell you about them. I can't really go myself.
My biggest curiosity, and she like actually like lets go of Dante's arm for a second as she's getting. This is what you were warned about her. She seems to hyperfixate as soon as she hears something interesting to her. She's. But tell me, have you climbed the mountains? There's rumors of old drow civilizations that are up in those mountains, ancient city-states even, grand, vast structures with carved bones of titanic whales and ice dragons, and then even you see as she's getting excited, you hear Dante just, Sylvan, you're getting a little too worked up. We're at a party. Forgive me. I just
Much
the world.
that and more lies in the north. I would love to tell you at a later date.
Of course. And you, madam, where do you hail from?
Hello. I actually wanted to introduce myself and talk to you about it. I from Shallow's Gaunt. I've heard of you. I've heard of your adventures there, and you're quite an inspiration.
And she smiles and cocks her head. She seems surprised to see another Selkie here. Shallow's Gaunt.
Aye, yes. Spent a long time there. Learned to make a living.
You scrap?
Aye. Yeah.
Did you live where did you live? Did you live in the Barnacle Towns? Close to the cliffs or out on the wetlands, the sunken streets?
No, I was a little bit all over the place, actually. I was, whenever I had a job, I would, get a room while I was working. But then if I wasn't, then I would just hole up in a little cave. And just very aware that this is not making me feel, me impressive at all.
But you see, she sort of lifts her head up and cocks it up, almost impressed, like this is kind of nonverbal language amongst the Selkies. Like she's expressing interest and but also turf a little bit too. Like she's like, I'm the person from Shallow's Gaunt amongst this group. And as she does that, you can see flaring on her neck are these gills that you can see that have sort of this orangish color to them, and you could really see the texture of her sea elf skin as well as she sort of runs her finger across her chin and then just holds a hand up to the bar as she orders 2 drinks and hands one to you.
Well, thank you very much. I see you were probably sought after for the underwater missions as well.
Yes. I was. I grew up in Shallow's Gaunt amongst the holdfasts of the sea elves. Not a great life, but I clawed my way out of the waters, just as it seems you have.
Yeah, it's adventure, right? In search of adventure.
Venture, yes. What out there in the world you can know, right? You can take it all in. How much have you taken in?
Do I understand what she's trying to say?
She's asking how far along in your life are you? How much adventuring have you done? She's maybe catching on to your fangirliness there.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I didn't do much until I met this group here. My acquaintance among the throngs of adoring fans over there, and my friend here, we actually met by unfortunate circumstances, and then we met with my other 2 friends who are over there, pointing out Septimus and Bruce, and we've done a few jobs together, and it's been nice having a purpose other than diving underwater for scrap.
Yes, purpose.
Aye.
And and extrinsic purpose you found amongst your friends, these colleagues, adventurers alike.
Yeah. Getting
And
very
you seem to
sweaty
be-
now. Very.
Converting it into this aesthetic.
Oh, I'm a captain.
Oh. As you're drinking it, you can tell she has ordered a special drink. That is something that Selkies drink. It's grog. It's alcohol infused with algae. It has a very briny taste. It is very, 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 very sour.
Yep.
And really no one likes it. Except for,
But it's home.
Yeah.
Delicious. I haven't had this in a while. Thank you.
Well, perhaps there's more for us to discuss. Both of you and your friends as well. They sound very fascinating. There might be work for you with the new programs we have. I mean, I don't know if you've as certified heroes. I believe you've probably already been approached by Essa. She's approached every single sellsword and cutthroat in this city.
Oh, would you be joining that expedition yourself?
No, I'm afraid I can't go to the... As much as I would love to go, I've heard rumors of some of the smaller scouting missions from Kiranor, rumors of massive structures in the land. Dead, still, untouched, no lights. Great fields, though, that seem as though they've been plowed at some point in the histories and overgrown over the years. Very curious about the Nuldo people that were supposed to have lived there thousands of years ago. We all know the Gnomish cousins and the Zvev Neblin. Of course, we've all heard of the Underdarks over in Gwenvalir. But no, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted again. I unfortunately can't go on that journey. But there may be other tasks. We are always looking for adventurers to take our scholars into the far lands.
I think Sigil once mentioned the name of a Nuldagra. It was very long and lengthy. Do you happen to remember it?
Well, the Zvev Neblin are famous for their long names, which I can appreciate coming from the Seals. Family is important. Your where you find your values, and what you can stand on, your own 2 feet. But not sure who you're referring to. There are so many of them, truly. Although I think I might know one. We did write to him to see if he had interest in this project. Well,
interesting. I mean, the culture seems, much like my own. Maybe one day I'll get to meet one.
Yeah, the Zvev Neblin, there are not many of them in Aldhalor, but they don't seem to like to take the long trip. Keeps them from their home too much. They don't like being in the sky or on the ships, it seems. But there are a few. I've met a few of them who have come through, particularly down in the Temple District. But anyway,
well, yes, we don't want to take up too much of your time. We'd love to speak to you at a later date about maybe business opportunities. I suppose we may shack up with Essa later, but I think for now we have more interest in staying in Hyvin.
Of course, absolutely. But yes. Do you have a card or something, or should I just go to the Commodore's office?
I literally have business cards. Yes,
amazing,
absolutely.
She takes one, and you see she slips it into a pocket on her vest. But she looks to you again, Saskia, and goes, "It could be quite lonely for Selkie in these parts. You need someone to talk to. Sigil can show you where my office is.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Well, I know the climb. I know the stories we tell ourselves to bring ourselves to new heights, trick our mind into finding new adventures, new ways to know. Well, I must get Dante to his table in the next room for the dinner. It was a pleasure to meet you too, and good to see you again, Sigil. Always good to see you.
Thank you for your time. It was nice to meet you.
And she nods to both of you and finishes her drink and puts it down. And you see she kind of looks past you two, and you just see her goes, "There's that cold bitch." And she walks past you as you see she walks towards a woman who just entered into the space, not fashionably late, rudely late. As you see this this woman who is wearing this sort of like the opposite of Sass, where Sass is like colorful and bright and distinct. This woman is wearing dark black leather, and she has this like flowing cloak that comes off of her shoulders that has this gradient from white down to black that has just sort of these fractal shades dyed into it that almost go into these trees of silver going through the white into the black, looking like stars at the end in the cosmos. And she has this her skin is this pale indigo color, and she has a long tangled green hair that almost looks like it's like just like shredded in a way. And she has kind of growing along the sides of her head, almost like a crown coming from the back of her skull, are these horns that go forward and upwards that are less like tiefling horns and more like just like these dermal growths of bone that have come off of her head, as she has innumerable tattoos of different runic iconography and ley lines and other sort of just magical script that go up her arms to her fingertips that are all tattooed fully in this dark blue from the top two knuckles, as she has these red pupils to black sclera that have these vertical slits on it. And as she smiles as the sea elf approaches her, you see she has these very sharp teeth that almost perfectly come together in a frightening grin as Aoife Valentine has entered into the abode. As you see Silrin goes up and gives her the most like, we aren't friends but we have to be friends, like aristocratic hug with a nice little mwah kiss, mwah air kiss to the each cheek. As you would hear a few people kind of whisper, some people saying how rude it is for this woman, for Aoife to show up and disrespect Dante in such a way. Some people like befitting of the upstarts in the naturalist school. I think they can run this place. There's just a lot of whispers of disapproval from folks who are not connected to the school of naturalism. Probably the only folks who are maybe not as disapproving are the artificing college folk, but especially people from the ag and working animals college. They really don't like the school of naturalism, and Aoife seems to be this representation of this new order coming in, as you can see by her also like very ostentatious contemporary outfit. But so you all notice this. You notice that people are starting to go into the next room for dinner to be served. Is there anything you all would like to do in the parlor before moving on? Bruce.
Bruce might. Maybe it can happen at dinner, but Bruce would probably try to quickly find Cadmus.
Yeah, I can say you find maybe it's like as you all are drifting from the parlor into the dinner space, you can size up next to Cadmus.
Cadmus,
Oh, Bruce! I'm delighted to see that you made it to one of these get-togethers. I was not expecting to see you for many months until the next big party, but what a delightful surprise!
Same for you. I thought about your offer.
Oh yes,
Invitation to some faculty parties. I think I'm gonna take you up on that.
delightful. You're looking to network, to get to know more important people. You stick with me, Bruce, and you'll make a fortune in this island.
Not necessarily my goal, but all right.
Fair enough. Nobler pursuits, of course.
Other question.
Of course.
Do you remember the student under Sigil, Delvana?
Oh, yes. The farm girl, Delvana.
Yeah. Do you know where she went? What happened to her?
Oh, the girl showed quite a lot of promise, if I recall, though I mean no offense to Sigil, but he's not faculty, and he doesn't have funds for this research. I don't even truthfully understand where he found the funds for these projects. And he doesn't know how to play the game. I mean, look at him. And he just like looks across and you see Sigil is like waiting for everyone to leave before he'll go into the next room.
And Bruce is like,
Yeah. Like Cadmus is so up his own ass, he doesn't get it when other people are not sharing in his meanness or disapproval.
Yeah.
It's not like men of industry, men of the future, like me and you, Bruce. But Dolvana, I know that she was finally admitted to the school of naturalism. I know this for sure. Befitting of someone with her mind. Though I hope to get some of this bumbling spiritual worship. Hopefully the classes will lighten that less desirable aspect of her resume. But I believe she is working with Professor... He's a new professor. I've not gotten to know him yet. I don't quite have the name, but I know that he is studies in the new biologica field, looking at life. He worked with what is that damn woman's name? She left the university shortly ago.
Bruce is saying like, can't help you here, bro.
She worked with small creatures, elementals. I always truthfully forgot her name, but anyway, all I know is he's working in biologica, and he's a new professor that he's working with. Quite quite a great position for a new, fresh admit to the college to be working with a professor already immediately. But I suppose her work with Sigil did carry some weight when she entered the true folds of our esteemed hall, so to speak.
It really sounds like it.
Have you claimed a table yet? Or would you join me?
Bruce is like, oh shit. I told Fear that I'd have a discussion with him, teach him how to have proper etiquette at a table. Otherwise, he might cause a ruckus. But another time, Cadmus, I'd love to catch up with you and
course.
talk more about future endeavors.
Of course, you must tend to your flock, of course, Bruce, and I shall tend to mine. But the next dinner, you will certainly be sitting with me.
Wonderful.
And he nods to you with a little small bow. As of course, like just his suit is very, very, very noticeable and bright, and ostentatious and garish. As he sits down, you can see he immediately tucks the napkin into his shirt and pulls it down, and he's just like, as he seems like very like alive. He's probably drunk, a little drunk. You would have noticed, especially with how quickly he was to insult Sigil in front of you. he's smart enough to know that you work with Sigil, and he probably shouldn't do that. But yes.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where Bruce is like smiling the whole time while
Yep.
looking at Cadmus, and immediately when Bruce turns away, he just like, just like, oh Jesus.
Okay. So you all can start to usher in there. Are you all going to sit together?
Yeah, Bruce is gonna make sure he sits next to Fear and to be consistent.
To prop up the lie, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sit with them too.
Jacquette, given your philosophy of waiting for people to come to you, what do you do? Do you immediately sit by yourself at a table, or do you find a table you want to sit at?
He waits for like people to bring a chair to him to carry him to the table.
Basically, no. He's gonna find a table, I think, with some of the students and maybe a few professors that have come around. But yeah, he's gonna sit at his own table.
Okay. Yeah, you would definitely, I imagine you have some students who come to join you, and like you could even like semi-curate it by like you reach a point where you're like another student starts coming up and you're like, no. These are the students who've made it to my table. And eventually you would get, the table would fill out with other professors. I'm gonna actually, Jacquette, high or low?
Medium. I want a 10.
You want a 10 exactly? You gonna go for that?
Anything other than a 10.
You're getting Jimmy Udon.
Jimmy Udon sits at the table.
Jacquette takes out a dagger, throws it in his head.
No. You do get a few.
For me.
You do get a few professors there. I would just say it's no one that you notice immediately or recognize immediately. But you would notice that the table next to you, though, does seem to have quite a few of the well-known professors at it. You can see this appears to be the dean's table.
Gotcha.
And then there's
Jacquette...
the head table at the front where you see Silrin and Dante sit at.
And the Commodore is up there as well, I assume?
Correct, yeah. The Commodore is up there with them, and then there's the Dean's table immediately to the right of them, if you're looking at the table from the entrance to the room. And then your table is right next to that table. And then you can see a couple tables down, you'll notice your friends.
Of course.
We saved you a seat.
I wouldn't waste your breath, Sass. It's clear that he's...
This is exhausting.
It's fine.
I'm
He's not
so
hurting anyone. He's
tired.
injuring himself.
No, not him. Just the. I mean, yes, but no, the constant just keeping up appearances and trying to talk to everyone, and I'm so tired. You know, I tried to talk to Silrin, who, you know, she's from where I'm from, and I couldn't get the words out. And I feel like I made a fool of myself in front of her, and that's the exact opposite of what I wanted.
I'm sure you did fine.
Yeah, it sounded okay.
No,
I think everybody is
sounded
like
so
that at
stupid.
these sorts of things. I'm right there with you, Saskia.
At least she wanted to talk to you. She was interested in where you were from. She kept looking at me like I was a schoolgirl and giving me all this advice, and I wanted to be seen as an equal, and that's who she saw you as an equal. And I don't know. I wonder what's for dinner.
Well, based on the spring rolls.
Those were fucking delicious.
Also, just as a heads up, so I nudged up next to Cadmus, and he said that Delvana is probably under Ifa Valentine in the School of Naturalism.
That's good, Bruce. Good job. Sigil will definitely want to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any more information we need to pursue, but
No, I think that was it, right? That was the extent of it.
We
That's where she went.
also, Fear, I my excuse for sitting over here, not next to Cadmus, is that I was to show you how to have table manners. So, if you don't mind, could you just like take that napkin and like just put it right here, just to put on just cover up my lie.
But Why would I do that?
So
Because he's your friend.
Okay. I take the whole napkin and I stuff it down my shirt.
you just like a little bit out, like kind of like chest hair, except the
Yeah,
napkin.
do it for me.
All right.
And as you're doing that is when everyone starts to settle into the room and the main dinner is beginning. You can see they're bringing out different courses. The first course is a lovely cold ceviche that you can enjoy in a very, very small portion, like a very large plate that has that very small whole basin at the bottom. And you have a nice ceviche to start things off. There is some artisanal bread that is brought out. Perhaps Fearn just grabs the whole loaf.
Not before I do. I'll race you for it.
He's already crushed it.
As the main course would be this this very, very, very lovely roast goose that also comes with steamed lobster tails
Whoa.
with a saffron butter.
Oh, the fucking rats of the sea.
Are you not going to eat yours? I'll eat yours.
You can have it.
Only if you're not going to.
No,
you hesitated. You eat it. You want it.
I'll see how they cooked it, but like,
There you go.
Yeah. They also bring out a lovely grilled octopus tentacle with a nice sweet soy sauce on it.
Ooh.
Mm.
Fearn eats everything.
Yeah, so does Sass.
even the napkin.
Yep.
No.
Even the napkin.
He might try a flower if it's on the table.
Oh yeah, there's definitely like an absolutely lovely centerpiece that is made up of dried coral and sea glass and flowers, and it's quite lovely.
And those
Fearn,
like
just 'cause
fake
the
grapes, you know,
Yeah,
like the
the-
plastic ones.
Yeah, there's actually like it's like ceramic grapes, like a nice ceramic like grapes and other fruits in the center of a basket that would be very unfortunate if he were to bite into.
Fearn, just because the butter looks like a flower doesn't mean eat the flowers.
I don't know, but I'm hungry. Leave me be. I'll eat what I want.
And all throughout this dinner, there's also champagne coming around still, waiters with wine. They're still taking drink orders. This is very much so a party reception. You actually see they do sort of bring down the sort of gentle music that's been playing and do play a little bit. They actually bring out a bard to perform, who just a very generic bard. Someone who can perform something that folks can dance to if they would like to, but not to call too much attention to himself. And you would see people do start dancing. Drinks are flowing. You can see at the dean's table raucous conversation happening between Silrin and Aoife, as they seem to be immediately in a fight upon being at this table together. As Dean Bronin has in the middle of the dance floor. There's no one else dancing. Dean Bronin dancing like a madman, just like absolutely going to town on this lute that playing bard. As eventually his wife would join him, Prina, and they would start dancing very close to each other and very like swoopy as the two largest people in the entire place.
You know, I think I'm gonna go find someone to dance. I love dancing. Actually, before I do that, any of you like to dance?
Can't say I
It
haven't done it,
seems
but it looks fun.
not something quite up my alley.
Have you tried
I'm
it?
too small.
No, you're not.
It's very
no?
awkward, proportionally.
Right, fine. I'll go find someone else, or I'll just dance by myself. I just love it. Save me some dessert. Don't eat mine. Looking at Fear. And I go find a random person to dance with. And I'm actually a very good dancer. And I lose myself in the music.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As
Give-
I'm
Go ahead.
gonna- as Saskia gets up to go dancing, at the same time, Jacquette gets up, asking one of the undergrads to dance with him, and they're like, "Oh no, I can't." And so he starts to walk off looking for a dance partner.
Yes, please. I will be walking, and I'll kind of like I'll look over and I'll see you walking, and kind of just like give you one of those like.
The look on Jacquette's face at first is one of like, "Are you kidding me?" And then he looks around and there's like no one, and he gestures like, and he walks like it's almost like I imagine like two people like meeting and then just
Yeah.
going together.
I extend my hand like you're supposed to.
And then as they go into dance, Jacquette, I imagine it's like almost like a bit of a waltz.
It's like a waltz.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so Jacquette is, to the side of Sass's head, and he kind of says into her ear, and he's like, "Oh, so the captain wants to dance, hmm?"
The captain loves to dance. I learned a lot in back in Shallowscont. When I wasn't working, I'd go find a bar to go hang out in, and a lot of them liked to dance. And I don't know, I liked the way it made me feel. I liked spinning around for hours and hours, and I just picked it up. It came naturally,
I'm surprised you actually know the steps. I'd figure with you, dancing would be that freeform chaos, but you keep time well. I'm impressed. Almost like partners I had back in Domuzerum.
That's a very high compliment. And I must say, your dance moves match your silver tongue as well. Have you made any new friends?
I've made some acquaintances, he says as he looks over his shoulder at the table he was at, but no one of substance.
I made a complete fool of myself in front of Silrin.
Sure, but if you didn't make a fool of yourself, you wouldn't be Saskia.
Thank you, I suppose. I don't know. She's from where I'm from, and I wanted to make an impression, and I think I just came off as a silly fan of her work.
Oh, Saskia, my dear, it's okay. You can be a fan of her work. She'll just have to realize that soon enough she's gonna be a fan of your work, or our work. I mean, I guess my work, really. You all just help me out, don't you?
Our work. No, Jacquette, we're a team.
Of
We
course.
do things together.
A party.
I don't have your silver tongue, but I've got these moves. I can be nice to people.
What's that like?
What?
Seems hard.
Being nice to people?
He just gives you a little grin.
Bruce looks over next to Fear and to Septimus. Are they dancing?
Yeah, it looks like
last
fun.
person that I'd imagine that Jacquette would dance with. Doing well.
Fear awkwardly
Little
gets
foggy
up
from here.
and like starts dancing by himself, like near the table, like
yeah.
just like with a drink in his hand, like doing the Carlton.
Absolutely. I imagine the fact that now we have our two giant kin dancing. We have another group dancing and Fear and dancing. People do now kind of see this and start to take a cue, and people do start to step out. You actually, weirdly enough, see Silrin it dances with Aoife, but like it's very angry dancing. They're very like twirling each other aggressively, and it's very aggressive. And they're fighting the whole time.
I look at Jacquette. You think they're fucking?
Oh, without a doubt. I have not seen so much sexual tension since...
Right?
I can't even think.
Like from the moment she walked in, she was just like, honed in on her and nobody else. It's funny when you can just tell that right off the bat.
As if a voice from the heavens says down to you, "They angry fuck."
as this dancing is going on, you can see up at the front, the Commodore is just sitting very, very coldly and watching about, although a keen eye would see her foot tapping underneath the table. And Dante is he's loving it. He's just sort of like, oh, as he's got his own cane now, that he's just tapping with the beat of the music as people do come up to pay their homage to him, and people are giving him gifts and whatnot, leaving it at the table. You can see there's like people are gifting bottles of wine. People are gifting their own original art, given his own love for painting. They're gifting him big tomes of history. And he's delighted in all of it. And it seems like he spends time with every single person who talks to him. He does not brandish anyone away now that Silrin's not there to play defense. But he seems keenly interested in anyone who talks to him.
So Jacquette observes the Commodore, and even Saskia would probably notice that more often than not, he is looking up just briefly, but enough that it's noticeable to observe the Commodore. And then he almost like brings Saskia closer to the head table, and he goes, "If you don't mind, I seek another dance partner at this time, but if you want to pick this up later..."
I'll be around. I was actually just about to suggest it with the way you're looking at her. Go. I'll find someone else.
And he just bows out, and then, like, twirling himself over, he twirls and then tries to lean against the table as he looks up at Commodore Umadori and goes, "You look like you want to get up and stretch those legs a little. May I have this dance?"
Give me a persuasion roll. While you're rolling that, I want to cut over to Bruce and Septimus sitting at the table with Fear not too far away dancing. Septimus and Bruce, you might be watching this in disbelief as you see all of this dancing and whatnot, as someone would come up from one of the other tables and just sort of plop themselves next to Septimus. Now, this is a younger professor. It looks like probably, not your guy's age young, but probably in his 40s. He has a white beard that's not too long, that then kind of like fades into darker black hair. He has these green eyes and a very like stone-like face. He has a really long arched nose, very very ancient Greek in the way that his appearance comes across. Mm-hmm. The hair even having that kind of curliness to it. As he sits down, and he's wearing a rather formal suit like everyone else, but he has several rings on his fingers that don't look ornate. They look very purposeless, truthfully, to an untrained eye. But given you're both artificers, these might have alternative purposes. As you can see, he looks to you, Septimus, upon sitting down, and then to you, Bruce, and then towards your mechanical arm, Septimus. And he says, "Quite the contraption you have here, my friend."
I see you have a good eye. It is my greatest creation, as of yet. I hope to do more extraordinary things in the near future.
You have made this thing yourself?
Yes. All thanks to... I actually don't even know if Sal's... Is Sal on the dance floor? I'm going to say Sal.
That's my next dance partner.
I imagine Sal is to the side, and he has, you would definitely notice Sal, so imperceptibly still, except for the most minor head bang that's going on, just like this, as Saskia just twirls up to him and grabs his hand and pulls him out to the dance floor.
Come on, Sal.
Point to him. They're like, my inspiration comes from my pal over there. Discovered him on my property not too many, couple years ago.
Your property?
Yes.
Looking at you, I did not surmise you to be a working artificer. I more so thought you might have been one of Bronin's charity cases. But given your claims that this automaton is your companion, and this arm is your creation with that automaton off of your lands. Tell me, are you from Asia?
I am. Not too far, about 2 days journey, heading north on the road.
But the field of dreams out there, the farming communities.
Indeed.
Quaint, very quaint. Their respect for elemental spirits is a bit, gosh.
Something we can agree on.
Myself from the capital lands, the Midlands, particularly. Sean immediately forgets the location. Speak a little bit. Speak to this man while I look something up real quick.
And your name is
1 second.
Bruce,
My name. You say my name? Yes, for
Yeah.
yes, for okay. No. My name is Coralius Firma.
and you are
I am a professor of artificing here at the school. Visiting professor. I actually teach in the capital, and occasionally in Avenir, which is my home. Septimus, you immediately recognize the name Avenir as the city-state within the Aldhalor Islands that is controlled by wizards. And they have their own kind of like governing body there that is slightly separate from the capital. You also know that Avenir is the home of your favorite food. Avenirian
My
void
God.
berries.
Oh my god.
But yes. I come from the university in the capital, and I teach occasionally in Avenir amongst the wizarding schools there. As my original chosen field was wizardry, and then I saw the new, the trends, as you might say, of artificing, properly replacing old studies.
Well, you and I have a similar story. As you know, farmlands, home to many of elemental worship. My study in the artificing is changed not too long ago.
Oh, so you're a relatively recent convert to the new technologies of the world, the new world. I'm not surprised by your appearance, but I am surprised by your abilities.
Well, I appreciate it. But you should know that my companion here is quite the artificer himself. He's able to... A lot of my inspiration has come from him as well. Brings a lot of
And-
outside perspective.
And your names?
I am
Bruce.
Septimus.
Septimus. Septimus. Strong Kirinori name. And you, my friend.
Bruce
Bruce.
from Halcyon.
Ah,
Not originally from Aja.
another Kirinori. Good. Interesting. Well, I could not help but introduce myself to a man who has such fine craftsmanship upon his body, and even better to know that he himself crafted it. I'll remember this interaction. If you wish to speak more on these matters, you can find me here at the university. Remember my name, Coriolis.
How long you here for, Portrayals?
I'm here for a couple months, teaching through the winter, in the spring, heading home in next summer.
Alright.
So I will be
Well,
around.
I may take you up on that offer. I would love to see the work that you've accomplished. Maybe I would love to share some of my intrigues as well. Or insights, rather.
Yes, I'd be very, very curious about your insights. As you might be aware, there are a lot of... and he looks to you, Bruce. As if to say, continue.
Oh, I've spoken to Dean Broden about enrolling as students in the School of Artificing. And so, anything you could do to help us enroll would be...
Well, if I if I can get a chance to speak more with you on the automaton and this contraption of yours, I think I could put a good word in with Dean Broden. I carry a lot of weight, bringing a lot of knowledge from a different part of the island, so Broden has liked my presence here as much as we disagree on some of his initiatives. But but of course, I will put in a good word for you two, so that I hope to see you in my office at some point. This automaton, it comes from the farmlands, right?
I found him there, but his origin is something much older.
And this arm, he's actually like stands up and is behind you now as he's looking at the arm.
I'll move it like up to him so it doesn't have to move too much. So
these metal weavings here, what is this substance?
I have not been able to give it a name. I'm not quite sure either, but plenty of scrap. After the Great Flood. It's the same type of material that my friend is made out of as well. Very strong, durable. Reacts very viscerally to runes.
Curious. I often wonder if such little machines, if they could talk, if there's thoughts that we can decipher from them. Whispers. And his face gets serious as he looks at you for a second. Septimus. And then he chimes in as he kind of claps his hands on his thighs. I will leave you with that thought. Bruce, Septimus, pleasure to have met you.
Pleasure to meet you as well. Thank you for stopping over. We were a little unsure of who to seek out at this event. But
many
glad to
faces
know.
from all over the island.
But happy to have met you.
You as well. Have a good evening. As he sort of
Good evening.
darts away. Okay.
He's a little forward. I guess your automaton and Sal and your arm are very interesting, but a little forward.
Well, I kind of like that. Get straight to the point. No tiptoeing.
Right.
Why do you have concern that?
No, he was interested in your location and where you found Sal, and which is, proper question, but don't want him storming your house.
I didn't tell him exactly where, but
Right. Yeah.
I scoured those fields back and forth many times. If there's something I overlooked, then he deserves to have it.
All right. Either way, he seems like a good resource.
Yes, we'll have to hit him up sometime in the near future.
Hit him up. Got it.
I could hit him up real good. Is that what we're doing?
I was not.
I like to imagine
That's
Fear
what
was
you
like,
should do.
What,
Imagine-
beat the crap out of the...
No. I was going to say no. Going back to taking on the largest, strongest person here, why don't you dance with the giant fellow I mentioned earlier?
Oh yeah, that's the best way to show off your strength is through dance.
I mean, I would. I'm not really much of a dancer, though. I mean, I don't know how to dance with someone else. I feel like I'd probably just step on his toes.
I'm sure Saskia can show you how to do it.
Well, she's off with robot friend.
And you guys look and see Sass is trying to get Sal to do dance moves, but Sal is not 100% getting it. So he's just sort of like when you like try to get him to like twirl, he just sort of like flails his arms out and like, but then like doesn't know what to do with them. So he's just sort of like turning into a wacky inflatable tube man.
That's all right. So then you just hold it here and I'll twirl.
And then it just turns into Sal holding your hand as you're twirling, as he's just. And then there's a moment, Septimus, where from across the entire dance floor, Sal just like looks and catches your gaze from across the room, like the scene with Charlie and Mac in Always Sunny when they're at the dinner.
Oh yeah.
Saskia's twirling.
I give him a smile and a nod, like go on, have fun.
I don't know. That looks a little embarrassing to me. I think I'll just sit down.
Jacquette, you see as you did approach the Commodore, she would look down at you, and she's just sort of like sitting to the side, elbow on the table, legs crossed. You see that one foot stopped bouncing as soon as you approached. And she looks down at you and she just goes, I think that I have to give a speech soon. Don't know if I have time to dance.
What about for a 29 persuasion check? I did burn my inspiration after all.
And she looks down at you, as
got this up, Jacquette, for +5.
As she
That's
she
a message.
love that as Bruce notices from across the room. She raises an eyebrow at you, and she just sort of she does give like an audible sigh and looks away from you and then back at you and goes, I'll bite. And she gets up and joins you on the dance floor.
Jacquette holds out a hand to help her down, and he just says, I hope not too hard.
And she rolls her eyes at this and then steps in and immediately goes into the dance with you.
So I think at first, Jacquette just dances with her, kind of waiting to see if she is gonna bite first.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like smiling to himself, like he's got this secret joke that's going on, but he's not sharing with her.
And as you're smiling at her, this is a battle of wills right now, because she is the queen of not talking first in these situations. So you are staring so intently at each other throughout this to try to.
Think Jacquette might actually talk, but not to her first. I think he's dancing with her.
Yeah.
And looking around to other people and maybe gives a little wave behind her back to Sass or the other party members. Swings over to Sigil and just like maybe does a little dip and just like nods to Sigil and then keeps going.
Yeah. I like to imagine when if you do the little dip with her, she does find a way to like temporarily like take the lead, and she dips you back at one point, and then brings you back up, and she just raises an eyebrow at you in this this stonewalling she's doing, as I am going to roll for it.
Okay.
So you can give me a we can go with persuasion. Sort of just your behavior persuading her to give in or to bite first.
Okay.
It'll be against her. Where is it?
A wisdom saving throw.
Basically, actually, I am doing
Yeah.
like a wisdom saving throw for her.
24.
You got a 25, actually.
Okay.
So she is stonewalling you. She's not budging until you start the conversation.
All right. So after like that dip and the dip back, and then like maybe another minute of dancing, Jacquette just lets out a hearty laugh and goes, "Fine, I'll start. I was hoping to see if I could outlast you, but alas, you truly are the queen of
Queen of the Seas? No, that's not right. Queen of...
Stonewalling.
Jacquet's not gonna. It's not exactly how he sees it.
Queen of taking the lead. If only from the back.
She she smiles for the first time this entire dance as you say this, and she just goes, "Well, I'd never thought that you would stop talking in such foolish ways." As she just sort of looks around to all the people that you've been cavorting with while she's refused to talk. "I don't suffer fools, Jacques Touchard, as I think you understand."
Of course. And make no mistake, I am a fool on the outside, but only so they can underestimate what I'm truly capable of. And I would hope by now you've noticed that.
She just sort of looks at you and goes, "I think that's yet to be told, yet to be discovered. I've seen you on the battlefield, that is true, and you've succeeded in a lot in my lands. But you're still new here."
I may be new, but I'm one of the most established bards in less than a month. I'm already being asked for all over town. Not only that, but I'm learning every seedy alleyway that runs through your city, and learning all the names of those people that hide in the dark.
At this, he's gonna pointedly look at her.
This catches her attention. As she, as you're dancing, she just sort of places one hand on your chest, like over your heart, as she would lean in and whisper to you here, "Be careful. Weaving through such webs, one can find themselves in the gutter. But you don't find yourself in the gutter. And you find yourself sanctioned hero of my city. Within the confines of my halls, with such information, there are surely exclusive bounties to be had."
How else can you clean a gutter but to get deep in it? There's only one bounty that interests Jacques Touchard. A grievous bounty.
And she sort of does a twirl at that, and then lets go of your hand and sort of finds herself stabilizing herself and turning and looking to you. And she smiles and says, "Perhaps in another place, less public, to discuss such affairs. You and your friends should stop by the offices this week."
Of course, Commodore. And thank you for the lovely dance. I'm sure I will cherish it for the long future ahead.
And she steps closer to you again here as you say this, and she looks at you and just says, "Careful out there. Those gutters, they don't mind skinning a cat."
They'll have to catch him first.
Jacquet says as he leans in, gives her a little kiss on the cheek, and then twirls away.
She rolls her eyes and walks back to the head table.
She rolled her eyes. She didn't vomit.
She didn't vomit. That's true. She wasn't disgusted. This goddamn tabaxi. Okay, so you twirl back to your table. The dance floor starts to quiet down as folks seem to return to their tables. You can see back at the dean's table, you can see Prina and Bronin. They kind of slump down into their seats with laughter as they immediately sort of call over for more drinks. These deans seem to like to party. As they bring over drinks for all four of the deans sitting there, as everyone starts to seem to quiet down. And you can notice each of the individuals that you've met here tonight in their own places, looking about as you can see, oops, that's the wrong spot. You can see Coralius Firma, the interesting artificer with a forward attitude, sitting amongst some of the more stoic people at the party who are not as into the dancing and frivolous drinking. You see Sebastian Wendt, the new biologica professor, who seems to be talking up the ear of Cadmus Mavolo at the moment, your slimy acquaintance within the School of Naturalism as well. Those of you who remember her also see Essa Hyven, who seems to be jovial as well, but also very frequently stealing looks over to any of you who will make eye contact with her. And you see Joyce Arendt there as well, mingling table to table, the social butterfly he is the way you met him. And of course, all of our deans, Aoife Valentine, the peculiar naturalist, who is now no longer fighting with Silrin, as they are kind of arm in arm, laughing together as they spill their drinks a bit at the table. Silrin Chevalier, the sea elf, stealing glances every now and then up to the table with Dante, and then occasionally stealing glances over at the hero's table, as she has been somewhat piqued by Fearn and Saskia particularly. And of course, the most jovial of lovers tonight, Brenna and Ronan, who are just snuggling at this point. As the room comes to a quiet, as Silrin would step up and go up to the front, in front of the table with Dante and the Commodore, to join them back there where she was originally seated to prepare for the final part of the night. And that is where we're going to end tonight, right before the third act of the party. Thank you, folks, for joining us for this lovely gala event. We will. I just saw Scry. I just saw Nick in the chat. Hey, buddy. And we will be back next week to conclude the gala and any other shenanigans the party would like to get into at the after party. And then we'll go from there. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. We're going to send a raid on over to... we'll send it over to So Maddie Games. And we will hopefully we'll catch you in Paradise again. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. Good night.
Good night.